Jeanette, we're live.
Are we?
Make sure there's space between it. It's not touching the mic.
We're gonna get this. We're gonna get this.
We haven't done this in a while.
I know, right? And
Yeah.
the visitor comes in. He just wants to see what everybody's doing. So we're live.
We're live.
Now, it's been.
Shit.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Just,
Salud.
what did I just walk into? Okay, all right. This time we're live. Salud.
Alright, it's
Salud.
Cheers.
We're live now. The dog just wanted to be a part of it.
I know, clearly.
Yeah,
Ooh,
you know.
that's good. It's not even boozy, but damn, it's good.
Jeanette, you're not even drinking much today. This is
I know.
this is a show where friends get together. We have drinks together. To everybody's health, cheers. And you're not even drinking with us. I don't know what's going on. You're gonna have to explain that to us in a minute. What's going on?
I know, I will.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
It's smooth.
It is smooth.
I like how the ice cubes was sitting in the glass for
And it chilled the glass.
and chilled the entire glass.
There's your mic right there too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Black Dog. Black Reserve. One day, somebody's going to see this and they're going to sponsor us. Be like, oh, these guys are promoting friends, just kind of getting together and drinking responsibly.
That's right.
Just, you know.
I'm gonna drink recklessly.
Oh, yeah, you drink. You're going to be bouncing off the wall.
I'm gonna stay up late.
Jeanette, just sit in your chair. Sit still.
We're responsible. We'll just drive over and crash at Jeanette.
Let me drive you guys
Stay in your
home.
place.
So, guys, it's been like 5 or 6 weeks.
It has been before
I mean, the
Christmas
holidays.
I've been looking to see, that little red dot on YouTube to see if something new came up.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And New Year's came, and then COVID Omicron came.
Eve. Yeah.
And I mean, am I forgetting anything here? Like, is there any
Snowed.
Ramadan? I mean, I don't know what else I'm missing here, but what's that other one? The African holiday? Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa came, went. Hanukkah. I mean, just all this time passed by. We hadn't got together. I was quarantined. You were quarantined.
Everybody got sick.
You were quarantined.
I was sick.
Did you have symptoms?
Stuffy nose.
Stuffy nose. You?
I didn't test positive, but I did get sick. Like I got a cold. Caught a cold.
I may have had symptoms, but I popped so much ibuprofen and aspirin.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what happened? You woke up one day and you're like, 3 days have passed.
I know, it's like, what's going on? Everybody, one person in my work site came down with COVID one day and was like, oh, that sucks, go home, you're quarantined. Second person came down with COVID, it's like, yeah, you're quarantined, go away. Sanitize, we have like a little sanitizer gun.
Right.
Sanitizer gun.
Yeah, spray everything.
My lungs got sanitized, and by day 3 or 4, everybody had COVID. Everybody went home.
I think it's kind of like the difference between the firstborn and the thirdborn
Yeah.
child. Like the firstborn has got all the albums of the pictures, has got all the cool toys,
Right.
got all the clothes the first time, all the first attention. Second one, there might be 1 or 2 albums under the bed somewhere else. Maybe they're digital or something like that.
Yeah.
Versus 35 millimeter, now they're digital. The third child
Just has
maybe
crayon
has
drawings.
their school pictures in a folder, put it behind underneath last year's taxes. That's it.
Yeah, that's that's nice, son. Very nice. That's how I felt. You know what I mean?
So the first time somebody showed up with COVID, they sanitized, they sprayed out the building. Everybody takes a holiday, right? Second time, third time, fourth time. By the time now, do people even have? No, it used to be what you have to go home for 14 days.
Yeah, now it's 5 days.
10 days.
Yeah,
That's 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And what was funny is people are like, well, I guess I gotta go home now.
But you don't look sick.
It's like,
I have to go home.
well, I guess I can't do any work. It's like, no, you're taking your computer with you.
Yeah.
I mean, computers are big as like a little handbag now. It's like, they're like, no, take your computer and monitor home. You're good. Take your desk phone too. Plug it into the internet at your house. And they're like, what? It's like, yeah, absolutely.
Work
They're
from
working
home.
from home.
Yeah, work from home.
Yeah.
Oh, but wait, like 2 years ago, people said, hey, I can do this at home. Do you mind if I take an office day? Oh, no. We can't control what you're doing if you're not working from the office. You can't we can't function with people working from home.
And then COVID pay. 2 weeks, COVID pay. Bam. People down in their quarantine for 5 days are like, so do we get COVID pay? It's like, no, that's when COVID first came out. The feds were rolling out money, and Dr. Fauci was telling you had to wear 3 masks, and you had to be incubated, and you had to be home for 14 days, and da 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 da. Now it's like, no symptoms. Yeah, just go home. Just stay home for another 2 weeks just to make sure you have your computer.
Well, you should just wear a scuba mask and a snorkel.
Yeah.
And then just like dip cotton balls in alcohol or in some sort of solution and then stuff the scuba mask. Stuff the snorkel.
I have a
Use
World War
that to
One.
filter your air.
I have a World War One, Czech-made gas mask. I have the 2 little lenses that have the charcoal filter.
I've seen pictures of that.
Yes.
I think you have pictures.
Yes, I have pictures of it.
Yeah.
So
you have the Darth Vader breathing mask.
yeah, that's what it is. It's like a World War One gas, except it's not World War One. It's a World War One style.
Yeah. With
the little lenses and then the little gas, the charcoal filter.
Yeah.
But it's rubber. It's not like the old cloth kind.
Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk into work with that one day and just trip everybody out. It's like, please stay back. Or like breathe that cross.
I have to do.
Please stay back. Can't see.
What's the next variant going to be called?
Well, it's on.
It's already out. What is it?
So it was before Mu came out, but Mu was just like nothing.
No, so
now it's Omicron.
What about P?
And then OP. It's Phi.
You can have the.
Because they go by Greek letters.
Here's the pussy variant. Get home, you.
Whoa!
Stay at work. Stay at work.
Quit crying. You're gonna stay at work. You got you're P for pansy.
Yeah, P for pansy.
Because we can't say the other thing because gender appropriation and the inappropriate. You might be a kid listening, but P for pansy.
Well, there really should be no kids listening to
this.
So if you're letting your kids watch this,
you should have gone over the rules before we started talking about it.
Okay.
We're on a 10-second time delay.
I know, right? if only we were that bad. My iPad has a 10-second time delay.
Our sponsors require a 10-second time delay.
One day. No. Any predictions? Is COVID going away this year?
No, absolutely not. It's going to become normal by the end of the year.
Normal? It's like you get your COVID shot, get the sniffles. Like that?
It's going to be like the flu.
Like the flu?
Yeah, it's not going to be. Someone had. I haven't read the article, but someone had mentioned that there was an article out there about if you change the name or change the title from pandemic to just like the common cold or just the flu, that people will stop freaking out.
Oh, I know. Right?
So I mean, maybe.
I could
see that happening.
I almost sent you an article.
Next year.
You might want to move your mouse because that has a on the so it doesn't lock you out.
Oh, that's right. I need to have my data.
You're the fact checker here. Yeah. I almost sent you an article about a new COVID that they're investigating that's really lethal that bats have, but it hasn't transitioned to humans.
Well, there's lots of things.
Wait, bats have COVID?
Let's not talk about what hasn't transitioned. There is this rare.
Make sure it transitions to humans.
On Jupiter, they discovered a virus that. Well,
but they discovered that if you lick the bat, you will get it.
Better than mushrooms.
Did you see that South Park COVID?
No.
It shows Stan's dad, Randy. He goes to China and he's with Mickey Mouse, and then he's like talking about Minnie Mouse, and then he sees the pangolin, and then before he does, there's like a clip of it banging a pangolin. It's like they think they've narrowed it down to a pangolin from China, and Randy's like, I gotta go. Was somebody having dirty animal sex with pangolins and bats? It was a threesome: a pangolin and a bat and some crazy Chinaman.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Let's
What's up?
So what type of animal was that?
A pangolin.
Say that again?
Pangolin.
Okay, how do you spell that?
I don't know.
You're a fact checker. Wait, let's Google that.
But pronounce that again.
Pangolin.
No.
It looks
what
like
animal is a pangolin?
I don't know, but in the pictures, it looks like a cross between an anteater and an armadillo.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, so I know what a penguin is, but a pangolin?
I'm looking it up right now.
Pangolin. Pangolin, and it does look like an anteater type armadillo. It looks like an anteater armadillo.
Yeah.
Well,
Pangolin.
Pangolin.
It looks like an armadillo on drugs, or an armadillo had sex with an anteater, and it's their offbreed. Like when you have a lion that breeds with a tiger, and it's called
A lion and a tiger, a liger.
a liger. It's like a liger.
Thank you,
Napoleon
Jeanette. Thank you.
Dynamite.
That was quicker than we were able
Right.
to respond.
Or when you have a horse and a mule, you get a horse and a donkey, you get a mule.
Oh.
Yes. Is it a horse?
I thought it was like a hodo.
I was gonna make up something
What about
really
a
probably
hobo?
disturbing. I'm like,
So
Hokey. It's very hokey. A mule is a hokey. Is that where the hokey pokey came from?
you had the
Hold
okay.
on. Let me fact check that.
So
Fact check.
here's how the events unfolded. You had a crazy Thai trip. An anteater went out, an armadillo that's American went out somewhere and had met with an anteater.
Yeah.
They had offspring in China, and they had a pangolin that mingled with a bat, and somehow you enter an Asian Chinese person into the mix,
Oh,
and that's how people got COVID.
and that's how we got COVID.
okay.
COVID.
Got it.
That's not
That's it.
factual, but
Mission
that's.
complete.
It is very factual.
Oh,
It is very factual.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure
South
Dr.
Park.
Fauci has a white paper on that with detailed drawings. He was like, they were not using protection.
Well, if it's white paper,
There's nothing white about it.
that sounds very dark to me.
And this is coming from the fact checker, so you know it's facts.
I think it would be yellow paper. Why can't we call it brown paper?
Whoa, hey.
You know, black
Ah.
paper. I've got a white. I got a black paper.
Well, you know, a white paper is an official paper from the government that's not law, rule, or regulation, but it's like an official written statement, and they call it a white paper.
It's kind of like a hypothesis or
Kind of like a hypothesis.
a statement of thought, but yet not proven
Right.
or
not made in the
confirmed
law.
or signed off.
So I'm sure there's a lot of white papers, official white
White
papers
papers
of the
out there.
transmission of COVID from this tree of life,
Obscure.
multi-species
And
transmission. Yeah. So COVID's still around. The point is COVID's still around.
All right.
It's still around. It's
But
not.
what's it? So the next one is going to be P.
It's P. So
It's
so
pee. It's
It's
pee,
pee.
folks. It's absolutely
the next
pee.
COVID's going to be a golden shower.
It's gonna be the golden shower.
I was at the edge, Mark. I was right there.
I knew that was
I
gonna
knew it was
happen.
going that
I knew it was gonna
So-
go that way.
So what happens is there's different strains of COVID, and they're lumped together. And so there's these minor strains that come up, but that are of minimal impact, but they're related to Delta. After Delta, there's a lot of minor strains that are variants, but they're related to Delta. So they're all kind of grouped part of the same group of family as Delta, but they didn't have any significant breakout. And then you come to Mu, and Mu will kind of, but it kind of didn't. But then you have the really next big variant, which was Omicron.
Wait, this sounds Mu is. Are we
It's
going
animal.
Greek?
They go by
So-
Greek letters.
So Psi will be the next one.
An O-P. No, we're on O. P comes next.
Psi.
Phi.
Psi.
It goes phi.
Like psychology.
No, pi.
Psi.
It goes pi. Yeah, pi, phi, rho.
Pyro.
Sigma comes after rho. R.
Pi,
Sigma's
pi,
S. It
pi,
comes
pi.
after R. So it goes pi. It goes pi, phi, rho. Sigma, tau, upsilon. I used to know the Greek.
Alpha Kappa Psi. That was my fraternity.
What's the fraternity of the nerds?
I knew
Remember
you
the
were
nerds?
gonna say Revenge of
Delta,
the Nerds.
Delta,
I
Delta,
knew it.
Delta.
No. Actually, that's a real. That's a women's sorority.
But wasn't that for the Revenge of the Nerds? Delta, Delta, Delta.
I don't know. I'll have to. Well, hold on.
Okay.
We're not-
Oh
my God.
I
Okay.
think the
Fact
Revenge
check.
Revenge of the Nerds,
Revenge of the Nerds.
was
Sorority.
Delta
Fraternity.
So Revenge of the Nerds. I think we age ourselves when we do this. Here we go. Revenge of the Nerds fraternity. It is. God, look at these guys. They all look old now, too.
Well, yeah, dude, it's an older movie.
Oh, no. Lambda, Lambda, Lambda.
That's it.
Lambda, Lambda, Lambda.
L for lame. That's it. Oh, is it a real fraternity? Okay, let's go back to what were we talking about?
Basically,
Going back to
the root of COVID.
The root of COVID, what's coming up next. So they can actually go through more variants that will be lumped as related to Omicron until the next.
Why Omicron?
Because that's the one that had the most genetic mutations that stands out in its own. So they've gone through a library of variations, but they weren't significant variations. They're all
What did they have before Delta?
There probably was an alpha and a beta, and there was probably a chi. So once they started naming it, and then you have all these different variants, but the variant was so significant it's related to the one previous to it.
Okay, so here's the thing. So the next one, what makes it jump to a different letter versus a variant of Omicron?
It's the genetic changes and the genetic markers that change. So Omicron has something like 50 genetic markers that are different from Delta and from the Delta class family of COVID.
So how many genetic markers do you need for it to be classified as something else?
I don't know. So I think it has to be significant enough because like Omicron had enough differences that the boosters we got.
Yeah.
The boosters we got were offering you protection from Delta and all that, but it didn't offer. The Omicron is so different; it doesn't offer you significant difference from the vaccine doesn't give you significant protection against Omicron, whereas it did with Delta.
Okay.
Because the genetic markers there's that many different genetic markers that are different.
Okay.
So
going beyond that, what are we expecting? Oh, here's something else to consider. I think that there's a lot of concern with a financial meltdown because of inflation, because of whatever's happening with.
So they're talking about lowering interest rates to try to keep inflation in check.
Well, the interest rates are going up.
Right,
so
but they're trying to. They want to lower. They want to lower the interest rates down to keep inflation in check. Yeah. The housing market, the rental market, they're just getting bigger and bigger. The bubble's growing, and there's another market where it's growing. It's getting bigger in too, but they want to keep the interest rate down to try to keep inflation in check.
Anybody priced out a used car lately?
No,
I have not.
So I went to a hardware store in the middle of nowhere. Like a little town south, middle of nowhere, shelter entry, hardware store.
Empty.
Where do you wait? I'm sorry. Going back to cars. Sorry, I know you just talked about car. Was it you the other day when we were talking? You said the car lot was empty.
Yes, I drove by the car lots.
Yes.
My buddies.
No, off Valley.
We won't mention what it is, but.
Valley about, so the big car lots.
One of the big ones.
Chevrolet and Ford and all that.
Said it was empty.
It surprised me. So we have the major car lots.
It's been like that for the past year.
Right, but that's the thing. Like,
are people buying cars?
No. There's still a shortage.
There's still a shortage.
So I order computers.
Chips.
I order computers and laptops for work. It takes like a month or two to get them in because of the chip shortage to get everything in.
I went online to try to get a laser printer.
Right.
I couldn't. They have no supply.
So
because they take microchips.
Right.
Oh shit.
Not macro chips.
Not
micro.
Not macro.
If you wanted the printer with a macro chip, there's tons of them. But you want one with a micro chip, can't get it.
Oh my god.
So when I say with a macro chip, it's like when I mean a printer with a macro chip, it's like one of the printers where you're like.
That's like putting white out on the screen when you make a typo.
Oh my god.
Dude, I learned to print on one of those old cast iron printers.
I remember going to summer school to learn how to type.
On a typewriter.
This Scotch is hitting the spot, isn't it?
I learned how to type on a typewriter.
Dude, we have not drank Scotch in forever
really
in a day.
This will be my next
Black Dog,
favorite.
Black Reserve. Again, it was kind of on the lower shelf. Not like the bigger names, but it was delicious.
Maybe it's a combination of the ice cube, the
glass. Maybe it's a combination that we needed it. Our bodies were craving it.
Needed some whiskey.
Cariño.
Look at. You know what it is? Let me show you the correlation. Black dog. Black dog.
Oh my
Ooh.
goodness.
Whoa.
Wow. No.
I'm gonna put this right next to Fido here.
Next to
How
Fido.
do you define cariño in English?
Cariño's like caressing when somebody gives you that love and that that touchy feeling.
But is there a translation?
Caressing, I think, would be the
Cariño?
closing thing.
The feeling of cariño.
There's a lot of words in Spanish like that.
Cariño?
When you have ansias for somebody, how do you describe ansias?
It's
It's like when you have that feeling inside, that desire that you want them, you want to give them cariño.
You know what the word most likely similar to ansias is in Portuguese actually.
I believe it. But Portuguese is a Latin language, so
Yes.
it all has that same root.
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't even know what the translation in English would be for
See,
that. That is
see,
interesting.
here's the
Or
thing.
ansias.
See, here's the thing. Here's
Like
the thing, Dario.
nostalgic, it's a combination between nostalgic and desire.
See, here's the thing. We talk about the root of the word, and you know what Jeanette thinks? She goes, root. Word, ansias, root, dick root. And she goes,
Oh my god!
that's where Jeanette's mind goes.
Oh my god!
Ansias?
Jeanette,
I did
keep
not.
your mind out of the gutter. We're talking about love and desire and passion.
And here you're thinking I'm thinking about penis.
You just said it.
You put it in my mind.
You know what that is, though, right? The dick root? That's when, when guys get cut and they have the muscles that go down right here underneath their six pack. And when that's well defined, that's called the dick root.
Well, shit! I gotta share that with my friends.
I know, right? Whoa. Jeanette's like, ladies,
Wait, hold on.
and if you
Did you
want a picture of it, there's a picture of Joel Osteen walking around in a pair of shorts that were like a little low and a t-shirt, and it shows his the lower half of his six pack, and it shows those lines.
Who the hell is Joel?
Okay.
Oh, you know who Joel
Oh
Osteen is.
my goodness!
You're
know
going
who
to
that
hell.
is?
You're going to hell.
Is that that? If God, I hope that's not who I think
It is.
is.
who
Preacher.
it is.
Yes,
Yes.
he has that funky hair, the fluffy type.
I went
you know what?
to one of his sermons.
I was hoping it would have been a rock
loins
star or
quivering.
someone.
I hear Jeanette's loins quivering.
So that's the same
That
thing as
sounds
dick
terrible.
root. Loins is the
Her
same
loins
muscle
are
group.
quivering.
The loins are the same
Same group of muscles.
group of muscles as the
Jeanette, ay Dios.
Ay, Dios mío.
Dios mío. Using our
Dios
Spanish
mío,
words
muy-
here. Dios
mío.
mío vida.
Dios mi vida.
Okay, here's a word.
Okay.
Here's a word that's similar to that. So, not to the original. I mean, we're talking about saudade in Portuguese.
Português.
Saudade.
Português.
Saudade is the feeling of nostalgia.
How do you say it?
Saudade.
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 Saudade. Come on,
Saudade.
say it, you white girl.
Saudade.
Next time,
I don't
next
think I
time,
can say it as
next
nice as
time,
Daddy-
next
as,
time you're
our
wooing
friends.
your neighbor man, you'd be like, "Tengo saudade."
You know, I thought Spanish. I mean, Spanish is the most beautiful language.
It is a beautiful language, but so is Portuguese.
But not Portuguese from Portugal.
Like Brazilian Portuguese.
Brazilian
Yes.
Portuguese.
You know what it
Brazilian
is?
Portuguese
They
has-
they say they enunciate the Portuguese words, but they have that Spanish flair in there too. It's like people that speak Portuguese. South Americans speak beautiful language. It's sexy.
Well, yes.
I'm saying.
So
I'm
Brazil,
throwing it out there.
Brazilian
I'm sold.
Portuguese
I'm sold.
in South America
I'm sold.
is.
You know what? I am planning a Colombian trip.
Good for
What?
you.
Wait. Colombia. What? We're going to we have to go to Brazil.
That's fine. We can jump from Colombia to Portugal. Portuguese. Brazil.
Brazil.
For Brazil.
So yeah.
Yes. Chile just became a socialist country.
No.
It did.
Oh, that's right. They
It
hired.
did.
They elected a new.
A socialist government.
What's he like? 32
I don't
years
know.
old?
13 years old. And they amended the Constitution.
13 years.
I was like, he's 13 years old. I'm like, what is wrong with
So
these people?
my next big trip was either going to be to Colombia or Chile, but Chile just became a socialist country. So you know what that's going to do with the relations to the United States.
So you're
wait.
gonna go to Colombia?
No.
Yeah.
How old?
Why not?
Well, there's a reason why you want to go to Colombia, and that's because of the
women are
beautiful
sexy.
women.
Women are sexy down there. You know what? You know what I've learned this
I
past
think
year?
that you think women are sexy everywhere.
I can't lie to that.
I
I
think
Wait a
think
minute. The president of Chile is Sebastián Piñera.
And he's 12 years old.
He's 72 years old.
he might be the outgoing. I thought the new guy was young. You could make that window bigger if you click on the corner. But there's a new government in Chile.
That's what I tell my girlfriend.
I know. Hey, girl. Just
Click on the corner.
Click on the corner. It's bigger.
Wait a minute. Show me how.
On the corner there, next to the X.
corner.
The one right next to the X. There we go. Maximize it. Bam! Windows technology.
Let me tell you.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Bill Gates. Thank you. Windows.
So
Wonderful.
wait a minute. The president of Chile.
As we're filming on an iPad Pro.
I thought it was Piñera.
Is it Piñera?
But who's the new president? Who is the youngest president
I don't know.
elected?
I don't know, but I do know there's a socialist government there now.
Kennedy was. Well, we have our Kennedys.
So, anyway, so yeah. So there's a socialist government in Chile, or maybe, right, if you want to go visit Chile, go now before it really goes into effect. You know what I mean?
When does it really go into effect?
Well, it takes
like
a while
this
for
year?
it's
next
like,
year?
It's if you imagine if you're saying you're going to change your government and all that, it doesn't happen overnight, right? So yes.
Here's the thing about the history of Chile. This is
Chile had
when
Pinochet throwing
Pinochet-
people out of the planes and stuff, right?
Well, Pinochet took over with support from the United States government.
Mm-hmm.
Because
He was a dictator.
Pinochet was a military dictator who was against what he said were the communists.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that time period when the U.S. was supporting.
We were supporting anybody that was not
against
communist.
the communists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anybody. I mean, that's what happened in El Salvador.
So,
that's what happened.
We were trying to say effectively, the enemy of our enemy will be our friend.
Yes.
It didn't matter who that was. It didn't matter who our friend was,
Right.
but they were going to be our friend.
And the modern day event was with the Contra effect with
Iran-Contra.
North.
Oliver
North and the weapons to Iran to
You know how I
hostages.
remembered all that? When I was a little kid, that's when Family Ties was out. Remember Family Ties?
Is that how you remember?
And Alex Keaton was the Republican, the son Alex
Yes!
Keaton. It was Michael J. Fox.
Yes,
Oh my
and his
gosh.
he had like a little brother on the show, and he says, "Okay, today's your first day of first grade. What are you gonna tell the teacher you did all summer?" I watched the Iran-Contra affair hearings. Yeah, I always think of that. Family Ties was a great show.
That was a good show.
We don't have shows like Family Ties now. That was a great
No,
show.
they don't.
Oh, that was the good stuff.
Do they still have good shows out there? I haven't seen a good show
I don't
in a
know.
while.
Do we have the Golden Girls out anymore?
No.
Betty White just died
I know,
too.
that was sad.
In the 6 weeks, we should have had like a very special show like Flash. You know what? Betty White just died. We could have done a whole show to Betty White, dude.
Okay, so Betty White has a checkered past.
She does.
Oh, tell.
She
Please
does.
tell.
You know,
She's
but
been-
that's part of like her story though.
Oh, so she was a
Scandalous.
she was
scandalous
a
woman.
Scandalous.
She was very attractive in her younger days. She was extremely attractive, but you know, like her stage persona, beautiful woman, and you know, like nowadays and age, when actresses now, as they get older, you don't see them much on screen.
No.
Betty White always came on, and she just her persona became
Sharp.
like a funny one.
But she was sharp.
She was always sharp.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So you know the atypical, like a painting of
Yeah.
beautiful woman.
The girls that they put on the bombers.
on the bombers.
Yeah.
So on the B-52 bombers and stuff.
We call it
Oh.
clip art now, but there was it was called something else back then. Some
Talking
kind of
about
art.
like the pinups.
The pinup girls.
The
There we
Pinup
go.
Girls.
Yes.
So yes, there's textbooks of all this with beautiful photos.
Beautiful.
Beautiful paintings and all that.
I wish I
So
was a bomber fighter.
she
I would have.
has
A pinup poster.
a pinup poster of that.
Oh,
of like just
wow.
bearing it all. I love it.
No. In those days, it
Dude,
wasn't.
she probably
it was
just
the
had a
shapeliness.
bikini.
The shapeliness. Oh yeah.
It was this, you know.
It was like Marvel Comics, the 1980 Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Remember the Marvel Comics like in the 80s, the comic like the X-Men?
No, I remember.
Shapely. Oh
Or
my god.
Isn't that still happening?
That's when I became a man. That's when I became a man in the 1990s, reading Marvel, the shapely
That's when I became
X-Men.
the Conan.
No, the X-Men.
The X-Men. Yeah.
That's what I became.
What's
The
the blue
That's
one?
really
What's the
kinda hard to
blue- The
believe.
blue character that turns into blue.
Blue balls? I don't know.
Mystique.
He calls us-
Mystique.
Mystique.
Wow.
Mystique.
Mystique is.
But
She
you know,
was, played by,
in the 1990s
Rebecca
X-Men
Romaine
and
Stamos.
like the X-Men classic and all that. Wow.
Okay,
It was better.
okay,
It
how
was
did we
better.
get-
It was better than the JCPenney's lingerie catalog.
So I'm curious.
It's hard
here.
for me to believe you became a man during those times if you're. if you were interested in Marvel.
Okay. So
I don't believe it.
before we go to other topics, we're talking about Chile. It is unfortunate Chile's becoming a socialist country.
Wait, this is so ironic.
It happened
that-
this year. It just happened. Just happened.
Just this year. We've only been a month into
Well, it happened
the year.
the Chile elections just
So-
happened.
Okay.
And then the first thing they did was they ratified the Constitution and they're enacting a socialist government. Because I knew people that were planning to go to Chile to come to the United States because Chile and the United States had good relations. But once it changes socialism, it's going to change our relationship with Chile.
So that's so strange because for so many years, Chile was the economic golden
Right.
child of
Well,
America.
who was before
When
Chile
it-
though? Who was before Chile? Venezuela. Venezuela was the economic capital of South America. Became socialized. They nationalized all the oil companies. And Venezuela has more oil than all South America and Central America.
You can't buy food there
You can't buy anything. A loaf of bread's like $10, American dollars. Guys,
because it was subsidized
Right.
by the Russians for so many years. It was same
no.
with
It was
Cuba.
Venezuela was a capitalized company, and it all changed under Chavez. He completely socialized it,
Oh.
and he took over the oil companies, and so all the oil companies it was all capitalized. People were
So they
making money.
nationalized
Everything.
So this is what Allende did before Pinochet got in
Mm-hmm.
power. But he got in power and
Yeah.
he just like
You know what we did wrong is we
he was like Mussolini.
during the Cold War, we supported, like I said, the friend of our enemy. Didn't matter who our friend was, just as long as they were the enemy of the Soviet Union. So we supported dictators because they said we're not going to be communist and we're going to be anti-Soviet. And we were like, okay, you're supporting drug lords. You're a dictator, that's fine, so long as you're not communist. What we should have been doing is let's open up trade with South America, let's support your economy, let's grow your economy, and form great trade relations so your country's growing, South America's growing, North America's growing, we have strong bonds.
Well, that's the Mercosur trade.
Right.
Like the North and the South and the
Right.
United States, the trade versus
Absolutely.
Europe.
But none of that happened. What we did was we used the co-ops, CIA and all that, support these regimes that were tyrants on their own people. We didn't focus on commercial stuff, economics and all that trade.
What's going on with Africa? Guess who's in Africa?
China.
China.
China's dumping money. Now the problem with China dumping money is they give you billions and billions of dollars
You owe
and you owe them and they say you need to pay up.
the debtor. The let's see. What does Dave Ramsey say?
God.
The debtor is the. Dave Ramsey says something about
Dave
Ramsey, like the
Ram,
person that owns or
debtor. Basically, who you owe money to owns you.
Yeah.
And so China's trying to build up the new Silk Road. They're trying to grow their influence in that part of the world. And what they do is by giving these third world nations billions of dollars, and with high interest rates that they can't pay off. So what they say is like, okay, we're going to put a naval port in your city, and there's nothing you can do about it. Or you have to give us this concessions. Or you have to open trade to us, and you have to close trade off to Europe. Or you know what I mean? It's all about control, money and
The
control.
borrower
Owns you.
is something to the.
But that can't be a big surprise. I mean, geez, you're always going to be in debt
Well,
to someone.
And if you want to talk about China, everything we're talking about communism and China and all
The
that.
borrower is slave to the lender.
Borrower is slave to the lender, and
that's
it
common.
shows in these governments. But look, did you catch what happened in the United Nations
What
this
happened?
week?
No.
Like China and Russia, China supports Russia, and the United States and the United Nations, Russia's trying to negotiate with NATO, European countries, United States.
For the invasion to Ukraine.
Right. There and China fully backs Russia.
And what happened in the United Nations?
The United Nations came out and said, well, Russia's coming out saying Russia's coming out saying we will invade Ukraine if you promise not to let anybody else into NATO, and especially the countries that border Russia. And they also said you have to grant NATO has to grant Russia friend status, because NATO was formed to counterbalance the Warsaw Pact in communism during the Cold War.
Okay.
Right, so there's that balance. So in effect, if the people that you're trying to counterbalance comes out and says like, we'll work with you, but you have to give us a friend status, then what's the point of NATO, right?
Right.
So and they basically they're kind of at a standoff. As United Nations, we're saying, well, we can't do that. We're not going to say that. We're not going to tell these countries they can't be a part of NATO because there's already like three or four.
It's like having your enemy become your roommate.
Right. Like, okay, so you're not gonna invade the neighbor if I let you come move in with me? Alright. It's like I really feel like right now, it's a real powder keg right now. But I feel like there's always a powder keg going on.
Here's a good show that's been illuminating me a little bit about the politics of this all. Have you heard of Peaky Blinders?
Mm-hmm.
You told me that already.
It's a really good show.
I
started watching
Peaky
maybe
Blinders?
the first Peaky Blinders.
Peaky.
I'm gonna text that to myself.
Hide and peek. Peek around the corner.
Peaky Blinders.
You'll see it on Netflix.
Blinders. BLINDERS.
It's a super. I mean, I started watching the first season and then somewhere down the line I skipped over later. So I was watching it with a friend.
4.
How many people do that? Do you do that to yourself? Do you text yourself
Yes.
stuff? Yeah, I do that all the time.
Today.
Yeah.
This chair is so weird.
Hey Siri, send me a note.
I take scandalous
cereal
pictures
all
in front
the
of the
time.
mirror and be like, oh, I'm gonna send that to myself. That's a good picture.
Oh my god.
No.
So you
I take
actually
scandalous
send
pictures to myself.
Scandalous pictures
To himself?
To
You
myself?
sell scandalous pictures?
No, not to myself.
He sends them to other people. Dario.
Well, maybe I want to surprise myself. Be like,
You.
well, look what just came on my phone.
Oh,
Dios de mi vida.
Dios.
Dude, there's scandalous
Meu Deus.
pictures. There are scandalous
Portuguese.
pictures of Mark all over Las Cruces. We just don't know it's him.
we already had the show where Jeanette came live on the air and
I
she
did
said
not say that.
she had a dick pic on her phone that she thought was beautiful.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
I remember that show. Yeah.
It's the dick pic controversy.
So here I am. One day, I was looking for pictures. I was looking for directions to a Tesla charger in San Diego, and I happened to click on. Oh, there's a building with this Tesla charger. Let me click on the pictures associated with that, and there happened to be a dick pic.
Oh, that's awesome! I love that.
I was like,
Is that what they're calling him now? They're calling him Tesla chargers?
It was like it was. Wait a minute! Did this guy upload the wrong picture, or was that on purpose? So that if you just show up,
dude,
somebody knocks on your window. I'm not going to go there to charge my car.
What's connected to my vehicle?
Yeah.
Is that like a electrical charger, or somebody putting their penis in my vehicle?
What's happening?
What is this world coming to? My Tesla is a virgin and is a clean vehicle, clean energy.
Clean energy.
You cannot put that in my vehicle.
Yeah.
It's dirty.
I was shocked.
You know
I
what?
was shocked. What if my children were to look at?
And you know what? I got to thinking. She's saying that there's big dick pics out there that are beautiful. I started thinking, is mine not beautiful? Do I need better lighting? Do I need to maybe put like a little rouge on there? Better angles?
You need Botox.
Botox.
Why don't you
Why can't I be beautiful?
Snapchat it and let little hearts come on.
Because I don't want Snapchat to close my account.
Okay. So here, what if you do the police lineup of several dick pics? And you can have a police lineup. And you can have we can have a clicker. Like some people, at school, you can choose A, B, C, D.
What's that Saturday Night Live where there's a lineup and he asked them to start singing the song? He said the criminal was singing the song and they all start going out singing. And he says, and number 3, go! And they all start singing a song on the lineup. And the cop there, he's all getting into it and all listening to it.
It was that movie, that cop show for the Ice Cube.
Was it? I thought it was Saturday Night Live.
It's Yeah, it was an offshoot of that.
Of that, and they're like, "Oh man, that was great." He goes, "So what was it? Who was it? It was number 5."
Oh my god. So I don't even know how to touch on that subject.
Yeah, I mean, when I get a dick pic, I don't want to touch it either. I mean, I hope I never get one.
Well, when you do, I mean, it's probably going to be your own. So I mean,
I'm not gonna say I'd never sent one.
No, yours are all over. They're already floating over our head.
They're
floating over your head. They're all over.
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of artistic talent that goes into that. You've got to groom it. It's like when somebody drives by your house. You don't want them to see all the hedges overgrown. You've got to groom the hedges very nicely.
Actually, now it's spring.
Yeah.
So you need to lay down some pre-emergent herbicide to
I'm gonna go to my primary physician. Says I need some herbicide for the goods here, doc.
I need some herbicide.
To start, getting rid of.
Doc, it's gonna be March. It's gonna be spring.
Although
I've got to take fresh blooming dick pics in the spring here. I need some good herbicide right now, doc.
It's although we're gonna have like 2 days of consistently freezing weather with snow.
My goodness.
And so
That's not a good time to take a dick pic.
No.
It's cold.
No.
Everybody knows what happens.
Cold, everything will shrivel up.
Yeah.
And die. A young death, Jeanette.
You're gonna wake up one morning and
I am learning so much about dicks dying, shriveling up and dying.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
On your front yard.
On your front yard.
It's a horrible sight.
If you take it out in the winter,
it's
will die.
terrible. I tell
you. No.
Oh wow.
Freedom.
You all need to save it for
Oh
spring.
my God.
Don't let it die, guys.
Those shriveled leaves are
How
horrible.
do we get from Russia and Ukraine and NATO to dick
And
pics?
Chile.
And Chile. Well, because you
It
know
all
what?
started with the
Chile,
visit to Colombia.
and then when they speak in Spanish, they say, "Oye, no me enseñes su chile, boy."
Güey.
Is that what they tell you?
Güey.
He's like,
no, güey is Mexican.
Güey.
Oh.
Güey is Mexican.
Güey is
We
Mexican.
won
Güey.
Chilean.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, you won. And then when you have a lady present, you'd say "Su prima el señor." Don't say "we won." Don't say.
No,
say,
they don't say
watch
that.
language.
Yeah.
Chile is a beautiful country. It ranges from the driest desert in the north to the coldest Antarctica frozen.
There's a valley there that's like 100% gypsum. You know what gypsum's used for? Drywall. And it's like the driest. It's like in the driest desert in the world where there's very little precipitation, and it's like there's parts of it that has like 100%
So
gypsum.
what is gypsum? Calcium carbonate or is chalk?
I'm not exactly
Is it chalk?
sure. It's a mineral, but we mine it and we compress it and we make gypsum board, which is a drywall.
So when you break drywall, and it's like chalk, right?
Right, essentially, right?
It's so calcium carbonate or something that is. What is gypsum?
I'm looking it up. What is gypsum?
You know what they also have a lot of is salitre. What is salitre?
What is that?
Gypsum is a soft sulfate mineral composed of
Salitre.
caffeinated sulfate dihydrate with the chemical formula CaSO.
Calcium.
I just heard Alexa over there go boom boom.
I know. I didn't know if it was Kati learning how to do that. I'm like, what the hell?
You know,
She's
my
a
Alexa,
super
my
intelligent.
house is bilingual.
Oh, of course
Yes,
it is.
It is. I didn't know you can make Alexa bilingual, but
Really?
you could make Alexa bilingual.
Does she sound like Cha-Cha?
She does. She goes,
It just sound like Cha-Cha.
si voy a jugar. Ratatata. Thank you, Alexa. So, okay.
Saltpeter. Salitre is saltpeter. Nitro. They use it for dynamite, I think. Those
I don't know what
mines
they're
a lot.
for.
It's from the. It's actually
What a weird
from
topic.
Huh.
I don't know. Just jump from.
It is. You know what?
From war to
But you know what
dicks
bothers
to-
me about this whole Russia-Ukraine thing?
Okay.
Like going back to that, you know what bothers me though?
What
It's
bothers
like
you?
when we were talking about China and Taiwan. Chinese wanted to invade Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Russia wanted to invade Ukraine. It's 2022. We've been invading each other for the last, God, since Roman times, pre birth of Christ times. You know, we've been invading each other.
Since the caveman wanted somebody else's cave.
I know. Since I was a caveman and I said, hey, that cave woman is very nice. Let me go over there and kill her man with a club and drag her back by her hair. You know what I mean?
It's a weird concept, though. Like,
but like
now in
this
day and age, it's like a really weird concept
that
for
we
people
are
to
still
be
talking
taking
and saying
that.
like, I'm going to invade your country. It's like, are we at a point where it's like, hey, just let people live in peace?
No. See, this is where we think that way because we live in America.
We live in America. This is something I've learned this last year.
We have everything in the United States. We have everything that you'd ever need in the United States.
I was thinking about this. If you want to
That's why the isolationists said, why are we involved in foreign wars?
Right.
Because we have everything here. We don't need anything else.
Here's something to think about. You want to send something to the middle of nowhere in the United States.
Timbuktu.
North Dakota,
North.
small little town, 10 miles, 20, 100 miles from nowhere. If you want to ship like a box of candy to them, you can click on Amazon or you can FedEx or you can UPS. It'll get there.
Right.
If you want to send something to a small town in Mexico, to a small town in Colombia, and a small town in Venezuela, much less somewhere like China or something like that, a non-European country.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, just think about that.
No.
Here, you don't even think about it. It's like, oh, I'm going to send my mijo something in North Dakota or in Wyoming.
You know, you know it's going to get there.
You know it's going to get there.
But if you send a letter to Chile in the 1970,
Right.
you were concerned always that it might get opened and the money would get taken out.
Right.
Or some data would.
Pull your mic a little closer too, just in case.
Yeah.
That's a good. It's a better mic, but it's not like, it's not like a NASA mic.
It's not like a NASA mic.
It's like, did you hear that? No, what was that? That came from the sun Betelgeuse, which is 100, light years away.
I'm a ghost.
You're a ghost. So we can talk about it, but we take for granted in the United States, even though we had things like Black Lives Matter. We had the things where people were rushing stores and breaking the stores, and we've had some crazy times we've lived in. But for the most part, the mail gets where you're going to send it to. You can order something from Amazon. You can go to Walmart and get what you want to. You can, there's like so many things here, and we take it for granted. But then you talk about sending it just to the next country over, not Canada, but probably like to Mexico. You want to send something overseas to like China. I mean, it's just.
You're concerned that it's not going to get there.
So for us to say like, oh, this day and age, well, why would a country want to invade the country? But you're right, because we grew up with a certain mindset in the United States.
Right, because we have everything. We don't
think about it.
We don't think about it.
So somebody in Ukraine, even in East Germany, because people that grew up in East Germany grew up under the Iron Curtain. Mm-hmm. So for them, it was always a way of life, and the threat of it always returning to that way of life always still looms.
So you have to think of follow the money. Why do they want to invade Ukraine?
What's in Ukraine?
What's
the
in
Caucasus.
Ukraine? Where's the axis? It's the same thing with the Chinese. Why do they want to build these islands in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah. Well, why did Germany
for fishing rights? They have access for oil. Mm-hmm. They have access for everything else. Why do they want?
Why did World War II Germany want to invade the Caucasus? Remember when they invaded Russia?
Because they wanted access to the oil, to the minerals, to whatever.
Right.
So it's like the U.S. taking over.
Taking over what?
You know what? Over Hawaii or Nicaragua. Cuba. No, Cuba was different.
Why did they not want?
Okay, Cuba is different because there's a thing called the Monroe Doctrine. The Monroe Doctrine says that no other world power is going to have influence on an American continent because that's our sphere of influence.
That was written in what year?
17-something.
So did they have the concept of interballistic missiles?
Or 18-something. No, they didn't. But it was under the administration of something like Polk or something like that. They were saying like the American hemisphere to the North and South America, that was our sphere of influence. They knew that back then, and it happened with the Spanish-American War roughly around that time, right? And they say and they were, I don't know, I might be butchering, but I know it's called the Monroe Doctrine, saying that no foreign country will intervene or interfere with an American continent. And so when you have Russia wanting to put intercontinental ballistic missiles on Cuba, well, A, national defense, right? And there's nukes on Cuba. And B, hey, we already said, Monroe Doctrine, you ain't going to pull that crap this close to the Americas. Mm-hmm. But we didn't do a good job of fostering those ties and saying let us help you, let us help build your economy, have better trade and all that. We're doing underhanded shit where we're saying we're going to support this dictator, and this dictator's going to be a dick to the people. That's where we kind of messed up, because the whole concept of my friend is my enemy. But the friend of the enemy of my
enemy is my friend.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Thank you. That was our mentality back then, and we could have had a better approach to it. And then when we had people like Fidel Castro going into power and people were supporting him, well, yeah, they're supporting him because we were supporting this guy that was a dictator and that was a dick to his people.
Right.
You know, how do we supported a major politician that had supported trade and...
Did I tell you I was...
You're Pinochet?
No, I was in Cuba.
That you're Batman. You were in Cuba? When were you in Cuba?
Batman. We knew he was Batman.
I knew he was Batman.
Did I tell you I was in Cuba?
Yeah.
No, when?
You can't tell us.
Oh, damn
National
it.
security. National
when
security.
I was in Cuba.
But you were in Cuba.
Well, we can only assume. We've known you for 3 years, so we can only assume it has to be like in the 90s, maybe.
Recent, no.
Okay.
So, and Cuba was just opened up during the Obama administration. So, pre-Obama administration.
I feel like there's a scandal here because
Dario was living on the edge.
Yeah, I feel like when Dario says
were you
stuff
a CIA
like this,
operative? Were you a killer?
That you do some.
So I was.
Pretty interesting things.
Working in Mexico.
Okay.
This is why he cannot show his face on YouTube.
I know, that's right.
Dun dun dun. The plot,
Dun, dun,
the
dun.
plot thickens.
Then I'll show you this man.
And Dario looks at me and he says, "I'm gonna kill you tonight."
We've also discovered he's Batman, so.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Where in Cuba did you go though?
Let's say it was their early 90s.
So in early 90s was like Havana, or did you go all over the country? I've heard, you know that, so...
Havana, I was in Havana.
Were you in Havana? Was it as beautiful as you thought it was going to be, or was it as close as you thought it was going to be?
So, beautiful, I would...
No?
It looked like a bombed out country.
Really?
Oh, wow.
From World War II.
Well, essentially, once we put a trade embargo on them, they stopped advancing.
So they were supported by by Russia.
Yeah.
For so many years.
But Russia is like 4,000, 5,000 miles away.
So they stopped.
Yeah.
And they would sell all their sugar cane and
to Russia,
everything else to Russia, and they'd get supported by the Russians for everything else. Fuel.
Which incredibly, Cuba, they had like their military. They have like a lot of people in the military training guns. They have mines, underground mines in Cuba, miles long, stocked with missiles and all this stuff, because they always expected an American invasion, and so they're always trading with the Russians, getting this, missiles and all that stuff. You know what the thing about America? Like, we kind of don't give a fuck. We're not going to invade you.
Just think of World War II when we skipped certain Japanese islands.
Yeah.
To go to the, we did island skipping. We went over to.
Oh, absolutely.
We would have lost hundreds of troops in certain islands had we tried to.
Every single little island. But you jump, leapfrog
them, and you cut off their supply line.
Right.
And so Russia stopped supplying Cuba.
Well, Russia couldn't do it because the Reagan administration, their theory was they were going to bankrupt Russia. So we got into the arms race with them, and we pumped money to the defense. They knew Russia was going to do the same to keep up with us, but they know Russia couldn't keep up, and they were going to start to bankrupt their country. So they couldn't afford to support countries like Cuba and all that no more.
But I want to know more about your trip to Cuba, because that's...
Well, there's some banana dancers, there's some loose women. He might have children out there. We don't know.
He might have children out there.
So it's not very,
So how many kids would you say? How many little Darios are in Cuba? Are there 6, 7?
So let me tell you
Baker's
this.
dozen?
It's like 5.
So I
like
met
five.
when I was living in Mexico,
Okay.
Mexico City.
That makes sense.
There were a group of people coming down from LA that were exiled Cubans
But they would go through Mexico.
that were interested to go to Cuba
Uh-huh.
to record old-time Cuban musicians that were dying out.
Right.
Oh.
And they were from MTV Latino.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of a record label from MTV that was in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So they sublet my flat, and
I'm gonna get a flat in Mexico City.
yeah,
That sounds legit.
It was sweet.
That's my next goal.
And then they said, hey, we're going to go to Cuba to go do this, that, the other. I said, hey, can I go? I said, yeah, sure. I had no idea.
How old were you?
I was
Were you like
in my
12,
20s.
15, 20s?
Oh,
in my
cool.
20s.
That would be a good time.
Yeah, that
It
would
was a
be.
good time. I was in the industrial chemical supply business.
Right.
I had no idea what music MTV was or anything else. I was living in Mexico City. I had no idea. MTV came out,
Right.
So
MTV came out in the United States in the 80s. And
Yes,
it was like a revolution at that time.
yeah, it was big.
It was big.
Aha was the
Aha.
first music video, right?
Right.
So the whole thing was to go to Cuba
Mm-hmm.
and to go to all these places and record Cuban artists that were in
How
their
cool.
old, that were dying out,
Oh, wow.
and try to recruit them to get visas through the Ministry of Cultural Affairs
Interesting.
and to bring them to Miami to record a CD.
Yeah.
You can find the CD now.
What's the
I'll
CD
tell you
called?
then the story.
Oh, okay.
There's a CD now called the Buena Vista Social Club.
I've heard of this.
Yes.
Yes, I've heard of that.
Yes, so I was there when they were
Oh my
going
God!
down.
Matter of fact, there was a song on that I used to listen to.
Yeah.
I want to look it up. I know there was.
We
A,
can't play it
if
now,
you look it
though.
up, Buena Vista Social Club. And so I was there, and it was a bombed out city. It was
Oh, wow.
the roofs of the buildings
Uh-huh.
were like, imagine like the old movies like in England of the castles and the old buildings and such, but there's been no maintenance and there's no money to support anything.
So everything's just kind of falling
everything
apart.
just it's the vines almost overgrew the buildings.
Wow.
Like a Yucatan Mexican old,
there's
you're in Cancun and everything is
there's
overgrown.
if you YouTube
Wow.
it says 25th anniversary Buena Vista Social Club to 25th anniversary. It has a picture of like an old man with a cap on driving
Yeah.
down the street with an old truck.
An old cab.
Reminders.
An old cab right there.
So we went down there. We stayed in Havana, and every night the group that I was with would go out and go to these different clubs and try to make contact with the musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, that visit was the first visit of a few, and then eventually they got them visas to go to Miami to record what became the Buena Vista Social Club.
I need to look up what.
That is cool.
There's a
That
song
is
on
really
there I
cool.
used to listen to like when I was in college, and that was like 2000 something.
Yeah.
Like somewhere within that 12 years of college, working towards my bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
There was something I used to listen to. That's cool.
Your senior year, best 4 years of your life.
Yeah, the senior year.
My senior year.
My senior year, 6 years.
Yeah.
You know,
No, so we were out there, and I had no idea.
so here's something that surprised me.
Wow.
Here's something that surprises
That's
me.
how they stayed up all night long.
That's crazy. Here's something that surprised me that I've really learned a lot lately. Is like Latin America, which is from Central America all the way down to South America. Basically the Americas, south of the United States. It's funny how people just will travel from country to country and go visit other countries. Like here in the United States, I'm willing to bet you 80%, 90% of the people have never been into the rest of the Americas at all.
Other than like what, Mexico?
If
Even
that,
Mexico?
if that, I'm willing to bet you 90% of the Americas. And if people do visit, maybe they've gone to Mexico, Mazatlan, Puerto Peñasco, and all that kind of
Cancun,
thing.
Cozumel.
Playa de Carmen and all that, right? I'm willing to bet you there are people that have visited those places, or even the Caribbean cruises. But the vast majority of Americans, I'm willing to bet you, have not traveled pretty extensively from Central America to South America, and I've learned that people down there, they kind of do more easy,
Oh yeah.
more than we do.
Oh yeah.
There's almost a sense of freedom of like, oh hey, I'm in El Salvador, I'm gonna go to Nicaragua.
Well, they have a common language,
There's a common language.
and so that helps. I mean, imagine
that's
if
true.
you didn't speak the language.
It's the
You're not
third
gonna-
most, or no, second or third most spoken language in the world, Spanish. Is it the second most spoken? I think it is.
I would
That's so
say,
many dialects.
Chinese is the first most spoken.
well, in number of people, but
Right.
reach and
Right. I think
everywhere else.
I want to say
the
Spanish
the
is
language of business is
right is English.
English.
But I think Spanish is actually the second most spoken language in the world. But so people, it's pretty common for people down there to go to the other Latin American countries and essentially see the world. And they don't have money, they don't have jobs, but they do this, and it's kind of cool. Like, how many of us do that? We think of
So where would you go? So let's bring this back home.
yeah.
Okay.
Where would you go if you had a chance to travel anywhere?
Like one place.
One place.
Oh, that's
like,
tough.
Like here, spring break is coming up. You know, March. NMSU is out from the
Dude,
5th to
I used
the
to
12th.
I used to go to Rocky Point every spring break.
So you would go. Well, so okay, yeah, you okay.
I used to do that, but
Where would you go now?
I don't know.
If you had spring break free, where would you go?
I don't know, because I think if we talk about Latin America, just Latin America, not anywhere else. Like the Caribbean, I think all those islands in the Caribbean, they're all beautiful. The ones I've been to, they're just beautiful. People are great. Costa Rica, great surfing. Venezuela, beautiful one. Brazil just seems like it'd be a cool place. Chile, the Andes and all that, right? I mean, it just seems like I would want to go everywhere south of the United States. Worldwide, I don't even know where to start. I'd like
So
I wouldn't
okay,
even
let's
know where to
let's
start,
focus
Phyllis.
with Latin America.
Okay, Latin America.
If we were to go to Latin
Let's
America,
go to Jeanette. Let's go to Jeanette. Jeanette, we're gonna throw it on you. 'cause
Jeanette, if you
Jeanette's the
need-
queen
if
of
you
dick
need
pics.
beyond-
Jeanette, the man maker, the man next door, everything.
The man maker. There's
Jeanette,
no man making here.
Jeanette.
if you would choose a place, do you want to focus on just Latin America, between like Mexico down to the Punta Arenas of Chile? Where would you go?
Wow, that's tough.
What would you want to see?
And don't base your decision on men. Think about like the greater world.
I've always wanted to go to Argentina.
Okay, Argentina. Let's
I
focus
think
on
that's
Argentina. Boom. Now,
And let me tell you, in my family, the legend of my family is that three brothers came from Spain. They were Basco, which is northern Spanish. One of the brothers came to the United States in El Paso, which is where I'm from, which is my dad, my great granddad, my granddad, great granddad. The other one went to Mexico City. The third one went to Argentina.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So Jeanette, you'd go to Argentina, you'd run into Castillo.
Probably, yeah.
There's a lot of German influence in Argentina. A lot of Germans went to Argentina.
A lot of Europeans. In
A lot of
Argentina.
European, but
They consider themselves the Europeans of South America.
that was really influenced during
just
the
seems
A lot of
Very-
Italians.
But that comes out of the 30s and 40s during that era of the Great War.
Why are there so many Italians?
That's why a lot of Germans ended up there after the war. Do you know that? Like,
Well,
they,
Chile.
there's even a conspiracy theory that Hitler did not die, but he escaped to Argentina,
Oh, great. So
and he
we'll
died
be-
as an old man in Argentina.
So I'll be running into his descendants.
You could be. You could be making little Hitler babies.
What's Hitler's last name?
Hitler.
His name is Hitler. He's like Madonna.
So you'd
It's like just Hitler.
you're running. Wouldn't that be terrible if you named your child Adolf?
Adolf.
Oh my God.
What's the American version of Adolf?
Alfred.
Is it really?
Ooh.
Sounds good.
It sounds convincing.
Jeanette, do you have any adults in your life? In your future?
No.
So
Yeah.
why would you go to Argentina, Jeanette? Because it's European.
Because it just looks like, it's just like the pictures that I see, and when
I think about the edge of the world
it
of
just
the
looks
Americas.
so, I don't know, it just looks like a really old world place to go see that isn't Europe. I just want to see it
It's
for
interesting.
myself.
I think of the Falkland Wars. To me, that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? The Falkland Wars. And Britain finally got all their forces together and say, "No, you're not taking our islands. F you." And they came out and they pushed Argentina back.
But
What
that
a
was,
weird
what
concept
they called
that-
it in Argentina?
Was it Evita Peron from Argentina?
Yes.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
The Malvinas.
What's the Malvina?
That's the Argentinian version of the Falklands.
Really?
British call it the Falklands. The Argentinians call it Malvinas. And they were just sheep herders. Less than 100 people on the island.
Bizarre.
But the Argentinians took the first blood. What is it called? Like, remember Rambo? You did first blood.
I
you
don't
drew
remember
first
what that.
blood or
I don't
whatever it
remember
was.
what that was.
It was a French missile that struck a British frigate and sunk it.
So, going back to where would you want to go?
I don't know.
I mean, you were talking earlier about you wanted to go to Colombia.
Because I've over the last 3 years of my life, I've really become more interested in Latin America. I think about Mexico a lot more. I think about even Paraguay and Uruguay. I think that'd be cool countries.
That would be cool.
So wait, there's nothing that comes to mind with Paraguay.
For some reason, I think it'd be kind of cool to see those countries though.
There's not. I don't. What comes
But
to
you
mind?
never know, though. That's the thing,
Uruguay is
though.
a completely landlocked country.
If you tell me the countries of Latin America, I would probably forget Paraguay and Uruguay.
Because
I have no idea.
You know what's interesting about Uruguay? This past century, and I don't know.
Dario's like,
I don't know.
please tell me
I don't know
something
what.
interesting
I don't know
about
what.
that country.
I
Do
don't-
they
Please tell
even
me.
exist? I mean, I have no idea.
Uruguay.
When was the last thing you ever heard about Paraguay and Uruguay?
So Uruguay, this is what I know. Somewhere in the past, they got into a war with Argentina, with Chile,
This
and
is
with
in the
Brazil.
1800s.
No, that was last century.
1800s.
No, in the 1900s. And they lost 80% of the men in their country because they were fighting so many other countries, and they were just being killed on all sides.
How unfortunate to be a woman in that country.
I know, right? I mean,
Oh no, you
Man
have your
shortage.
pick of the litter. What are you talking about?
don't get me
It's a man
wrong.
shortage.
Don't get me wrong. Brazil would be
For
cool.
you.
I think Brazil would be cool. I think all the Brazilian countries would be cool. I think the Brazilian women would be beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think, I think about Venezuela. I think about Colombia. I think about El Salvador. I think about, and you know what?
What would there be to...
So here's what got me. Here's what got me initially, and I think about this many years ago. There's a really cool movie about the history. It's not accurate. It is, but it's not. It's called The Liberator, Libertador, and it's the actor, which is a common actor. He comes out in an American movie. He was the one that came out in Point Break, the new Point Break. Bodie. He played Bodie in the new Point Break.
Who the hell is Bodie in the new Point Break?
It's just he's a Venezuelan actor. I didn't know that. He comes out in a lot of movies, but he plays
must have not impressed me if I
in
don't
Liberty
remember.
Libertad.
Almost?
No, I'm gonna look him up. But he
remember this
plays Simon Bolivar.
Oh, he was... You know what? That's amazing. You know how in the United States we have our founding fathers?
Yeah.
Adams...
George Washington, Franklin,
Yes.
Samuel Adams,
Yes.
John Adams.
Okay, so in Chile, all the
The founding
Founding
fathers?
fathers are Irish.
Right. You
How
know why?
weird.
Simon Bolivar
You know
was
what?
one of
But
them.
do you know why though? Do you know why? Simon Bolivar wasn't Irish. Simon Bolivar is Spanish, but his family owned land in Venezuela.
Oh.
So do you know why there's so many Irish down there? And why there's so
The
many?
potato famine.
No.
Why?
So Simon Bolivar was fighting the Spanish, And Simon Bolivar rode something like 3,000 miles by horseback. He fought over 200 battles against the Spanish during the time when the Spanish was the world power. So we don't remember this.
Clearly.
No, they were. Think of all the ships that were traveling out the treasure of 1700s.
Right. The Portuguese and the Spanish were the world powers. The Portuguese, there was the earthquake of Lisbon, and the Portuguese actually transferred the crown to Brazil. And that's why for a while the Brazilian flag had the coat of arms of Portuguese. But Portuguese lost their power. Like they kind of declined.
And
but
then they buried the treasure in Nova Scotia on Oak Island.
Oak Island, right? So then the Spanish was the world power during like the 1700s. And what were those guys called with the muskets? There was a name for them, like the troubadours. I want to say troubadours, but they weren't. So, but the Spanish was the world power.
You're talking about the conquistadors.
No. So this is like in the 1700s. America was already established.
Okay.
But well, that was probably during the time when the Spanish, they were still the world power, but they were kind of losing their world power. French was becoming the new world power, Napoleon and all that, right? But the Spanish was the world power. Spanish had the best troops in the world and everything.
It's all about the Armada.
It was about the Armada, the galleons, the big ships. And the Portuguese still had interest in South America.
They were more traders.
They're right. But the Spanish...
Did you know that they opened Japan?
Yes, they did. With the priests. Their priests were... There was a couple of priests that were the only priests that were allowed there. All the other priests were killed. But so Spain was the world power. Bolivar fought over 200 battles against them.
Simon Bolivar
He was amazing. He crossed the Andes, and the Andes higher than the
who's
Himalayas.
the one that went through through the mountains with on top of elephants and
That's
Mark Anthony
no,
or was it
Mark Anthony's Roman. Hannibal
went through the mountains.
So they talked about how Hannibal crossed not the Himalayas, what's the mountains in Europe there? The Swiss, the mountains in Europe, the Alps, to conquer Rome, the Alps. It was the Alps.
Wow.
And the Andes are bigger than the Alps. Simon Bolivar took a bunch of natives, people that were shoeless, goat herders, and everything. He crossed the Andes to attack the Spanish, essentially like from behind where they weren't expecting him. And he won. And he was able to invade Caracas through that. He didn't want to make it a direct attack on Caracas. Caracas was heavily defended.
It's a tough city because it's a mountain city.
It's a mountain city, but nobody expected. So what happened was Simon Bolivar's telling everybody, South America's the bastion of freedom. Come and fight with us. Fight for freedom. An Irish brigade came from Ireland, and he says it's the first time that Europeans came as liberators and not as conquerors. And there's one Spanish general. There was a general that died, and then there was like the guy that was like second command.
I know who it is.
Who is it?
Bernardo O'Higgins.
Yes.
And he was the founder, George Washington of Chile.
He was. Yes. But
Jeanette, how do we know these things?
How interesting is it though that the Irish big impact.
Beachy Irish.
So the Beachy Irish, Guinness drinking Irish, bloody great. But the Irish big impact in the American Civil War.
I'm going to celebrate
St. Patty's Day
with a fervor
this year. We're going to do it.
Yes.
So the Irish
with this Chilean flag and a
Venezuelan. So let's think about it.
Venezuelan.
The Irish contribution to the Civil War, the Irish brigades, because so many immigrants were like literally coming off their ships, being recruited to the Union Army. So in the Civil War, the Irish, huge contribution.
Really?
Yes.
As long as you
paid
them in ale.
So the Irish famine, a lot of Irish were coming, and as soon as they were getting off the ships, they were being signed up to fight in the Civil War. And then during the Polk administration, when we were invading Mexico because of the whole Texas thing, the Rio Grande and the Rio Bravo River, I think it was. There was an incursion there, and a group of Irish American soldiers, like a brigade of them, they switched sides to Mexico and they fought with the Mexicans.
Oh shit.
So they say if you're Irish and you go to Mexico, they will buy you a beer because the Irish turned on the Americans to fight with the Mexicans. And then you have...
So where do we have to go? Where do we have to go? What
We're
city?
going, we go everywhere.
No. What city in Mexico do we have to go?
I think it had to do with like Monterrey and that
I'm going to
area.
call you O'Malley.
Monterrey.
And you can call me
Yeah, as brown as I am. O'Shaughnessy.
O'Malley.
I am Mark Castillo O'Malley.
I would like a Corona X.
But, so like the Irish contribution to history is significant in such a way that we may or may not
We have
know.
no idea what that's amazing. And then there's the potato famine.
Right, which is
And
why
they
so many
came
Irish
over
came to the
the
United
US
States. And then there was like...
They were probably the reason why... They probably made it to Easter Island.
They probably did. There are probably so many... Oh, I know, right? There were the Polynesians going to Easter Island. The Irish and the British. I mean, like when British was conquering Ireland back before...
Well, that's all the IRA.
Oh, no, before that.
Belfast.
Before all that. Like when the British subjugated Ireland, it was brutal.
It's like the Japanese against the Chinese.
It's like William Wallace and all that.
Ooh.
It's back in those days.
Wow.
Like the British went in and when they subjugated Ireland, it was brutal.
You know, those days were brutal.
But we don't. It's a history that's almost lost to us because it's in the books and it's there and all that. But we focus on modern affairs.
I wish we studied more history.
We need to.
Because history, if you
don't know
who
your
said
history.
that if we ignore history,
We're doing
we
it.
You're
repeat
doomed to
the
repeat it.
sins of our, the
Who
past.
said that if we don't study it, history?
History. Oh my.
HEE.
We
Jeanette, what? So you'd go to Argentina, really? You want to go to Argentina?
I want to see it.
I know
Yeah,
Churchill
I do
said
wanna
it.
see it.
Churchill said it, but there's somebody else that said it before them. It's a Spanish philosopher,
It
George
sounds very
Santayana.
stoic. Like
Those
from
who-
the
Spanish philosopher George Santayana is credited with the aphorism, "Those who cannot repeat the past are condemned to repeat it." The British statesman Winston
those who forget the
Churchill
past are condemned to repeat it.
Churchill wrote, "Those who fail." I have to click on the link now. I remember Churchill said it, but I know Churchill wasn't the first to say it.
Condemned to repeat it.
Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. That's
You know,
what
that I always associate that with the Holocaust.
because Churchill said it, but he was not the first to say it. That's what I
So
remember.
that's the education of the Europeans when they went to Harvard, when they went to all these Ivy League schools, or they went. No, he didn't go to Harvard, but the English.
And you know what? I love Churchill. Churchill's another interesting
So
guy.
when you watch Peaky Blinders, you'll see how he was involved in some of the gangster stuff.
So, do you know Churchill? He was writing his memoirs, like before they even happened. He said, I wanted to do X, Y, Z. So he started writing his memoirs saying, I will do this, this, and this.
He's like a Kardashian.
Right.
He was
He was the Kardashian of his time.
time.
But he did it all. He said, when he was a young man, he said, he was writing his memoirs. He says, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to be a war minister. I'm going to fight in World War I. I'm going to fight in World War II. I'm going to go to Africa. He did all those things. It was in a sense almost like writing his goals.
Yeah.
But he did it. The Lion of England. The man that stood up to Nazi.
Okay. So, Jeanette, if you were to write your future goals,
Dude,
your
wow.
goals now, but for your future, what would they be? What are your goals for 5, 10, 15, 20 years from
Do
now?
it, Jeanette.
Oh,
And don't talk
wow.
about men.
Why would I do that?
Jeanette, what are your goals? You're writing memoirs of things, not just your memoirs,
Jeez,
but
I only have-
but hold on, in a way that Churchill wrote it and saying, I was going to do X, Y, and Z. What would you do?
My goals for the rest of my life, huh?
Yes.
God, I only had a goal for
'Cause-
the year.
And think about it, because we've talked about this a lot in the
What?
past. We've already gone through the best part of our life.
Oh, have we? Shit. I was kind of hoping
when
I'd
we
still
were
do
young,
that.
we were teenagers, we went through our 20s. We're in a point in our life
We didn't know.
we didn't know any better. But now that you do know any better, and you've written, half of your book has been written for you because you didn't know any better. But now you have a chance to write the second half of your book. Now knowing what you know, if you could write the second half of your book, what would you write?
Well, I hope it doesn't resemble the first half.
Jeanette.
Shit.
Quickly, just what would you write?
Quickly. I don't know, guys. I honestly haven't thought that far ahead. I'm not gonna lie. Seriously, I'm just thinking about this year. I'm thinking about, I don't know if I want to do this job or this field forever.
So
I'm starting to think about maybe possibly changing careers.
do it.
And
But
I
here's
still
the
have
thing.
to figure out what it is
Do
that I
it.
want. Well, no shit.
Put pen to paper and do
Shit.
it. And that's something that's different from that time to this time.
You know, the thing about it is...
Put pen to paper and do it.
Well, yeah, no shit.
Let me ask you something, because this is a good segue.
What?
What are you doing right now?
Well, let me tell you what I'm doing right now.
What are you doing right now?
I did a vision board for the year.
Okay.
And I set my goals out for the year.
And you don't have...
What's
And you
the
don't...
vision board?
So it's where...
Yeah.
A vision board is where... Okay, go ahead.
So a vision board are the things that you want to... Like, you set out your goals, and, you know, you just put it on a board, and you... I got creative with mine. Things that I wanted to accomplish for the year.
When we used to be working together, we would do a vision board.
So now a true vision board that she's talking about, like you actually cut pictures out of magazines and all that, and you put it on your vision board, so you can visualize it. So if you want to go to Argentina, you would cut out a picture of like a city or a cottage in Argentina, and
Okay,
you.
so what if you're not even there? If you don't know, you're not satisfied with where you're at, but you don't know where you
want to be. Exactly, because that's kind of where I'm at. So I started doing, like I told you, my challenge. It's based on that 75 day.
So what you
hard.
tell us about your so you
It's
say
based
75 day
on-
what?
It's based on the 75 day hard challenge.
What is the 75 day hard? Give us like in a nutshell. Just in a nutshell, what's the 75 day hard?
75 day hard, and I think a lot of people might know this.
You gave up men, didn't you?
For 75 days, I gave up men a long time ago. Shit. Last year, actually.
What's the world coming to?
I know.
What's the world coming to?
Don't
Well,
give up, man.
No, I just need to make the right one.
So what?
Okay, so 75 day hard. No drinking for 75 days.
So have you done no
Exercising.
Have you done no drinking for 75 days?
Hold on.
Well, I'm gonna go down with you. So have you given up the drinking for 75 days?
Okay, you need a hush up so I
Oh,
can explain.
wow!
I know.
That's flexing some muscle. I
know.
love it.
Well,
Ah.
because you don't let
excited.
me talk, man. Okay, 75 days.
Okay.
That's what I'm not doing 75
I
days.
need a
I'm
pen to
doing
write this down.
45 days because I'm trying to be realistic with my goals.
So you're going 45 days versus 75?
45 days, no drinking,
so Mark, she's
exercising
going-
every
Are you telling me
day.
like this?
No, no,
45
she's
days.
she's going
45
75
days.
days, but it's actually 45.
I wait 45 days.
Okay, I'm counting down.
Okay.
So okay, so you adjusted the 75 days to something more reasonable, which is 45.
Yes.
So what do you do during the 45 days?
Okay, well, I'm drinking water. A lot of water.
Oh,
I'm not drinking
that
alcohol.
actually seems very hard.
That's
no
why,
alcohol.
yeah,
Ooh.
that's why I have my bang.
Ooh.
I'm exercising every day.
Hey, good for you. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, every morning. I'm reading a book, like a motivational book, something
Yeah.
inspiring. I'm on a diet. What else am I doing? I have to take a picture every morning
Wow.
of progress. Like every single day I have to take a picture of myself. Like it's not pretty, but I still do it.
No, right.
And you can see it because you can see the progress that you make.
Right.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
So it doesn't sound that bad.
No.
But where does a vision board fit into this?
Well, I just did it because I think that it's important to have.
Did you incorporate it yourself, or did something you did, or was it
Oh
part
no!
of 45 days?
No, that has nothing to do with the challenge because I figure if I'm going to do this, it's kind of like a kickstart to wanting to build habits. And one of the things on my vision board was I wanted to be more of a morning person. I wanted to wake up early, so I wanted to start being a person who wakes up at 5 and starts my day early in the day. So part of my vision board and my goals for the year, just It's a lot of
So,
self-improvement.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Since Jeanette said she wanted to start waking up early, I said I wanted to start waking up early.
He doesn't wake up.
No, you know what? I've been waking up
Have
like
you?
at 4 in the morning.
I'm so proud
And
of you.
I'll lay there in bed and I'll be like, I'm gonna go do something in the morning and like go for a run or do the rowing machine.
Do it.
I haven't done it yet, but I've been waking up at 4 in the morning. But you know who put that seed in me? Was you when you started saying you're gonna do it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna start waking up early in the morning. I find myself waking up at 4:30 in the morning. It's like twiddling my thumbs, like, oh shit, what am I gonna do?
When I
4:30.
started doing
But
this
then you go to
beginning of
social
January,
Yes.
That's the
when I
problem.
started doing this in
I'm gonna
January,
cut
I
out social
actually
media.
I started calling you, but then,
She was my battle buddy to wake me up in the morning, but
but
she
then you
gave up
don't
on me.
answer.
She gave up on me.
I
So
did.
she's my battle buddy. So if we were in war, and we
left
were there
him.
fighting
I
the
left
Nazis
him.
with each
If you
other,
were in
she'd
the
be
other
like,
trench.
you know, dude, to hell with you, I'm going. And I'd be like, ah.
No. You were asleep in your trench, and she
Why
would
don't-
be up shooting the enemy.
Because he doesn't wake up.
But
He
you
wouldn't
know
wake
what?
up.
But you know what? I have been waking up.
Well, I'm so proud of
It's
you.
been-
Do you want me to start calling you again?
I even took a video of my dog with explosive diarrhea in the snow this morning.
That's terrible.
It is terrible.
Did you post
But
it?
you were up at 5, so I'm so excited. I'm glad
Okay.
that happened to you at 5 o'clock in the
So what
morning.
motivated you to do the 45-day challenge?
It's all about self-discipline.
But
I needed more
did
self-discipline in
somebody
my
tell you
life.
about it or something?
I had a friend, and her friend was doing a 75-day challenge.
So
And I was like-
was it like a girl's thing? You guys were talking about it?
Well, yeah, she was telling me about what she was doing, but the 75-day challenge is working out twice a day.
Okay.
But if you're like not,
That's
if you
what I
don't
wanna
work out
do.
for a long time, and you're trying to like do something, I'm not gonna.
That's actually
Do
my goal to
something.
start working out twice a day. Wake up 4 in the morning to
I
work out.
can't even get up to go for a walk.
So
What are
my
you guys
goal
talking
is
about?
after the 45 days is I want to up the ante and do another 45, but add something else. So maybe adding like that second workout.
Maybe
or-
doing like a knocking on the
something
neighbor's
else.
door at 4 in the morning. Be like, hey, I'm awake,
Sure.
man. What are you doing, bro? So,
But
what's
so
your
I don't
next-
want
what's your
so
next
can I
workout?
add something? Can I add something real fast?
February 16th is their end of her.
Is
birthday.
February
the-
16th.
February 16th is
That's
my
like
45
right around the
days.
corner.
16th.
That's like
Wow.
2 days after the
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. So what's important about it? So like a vision board, it goes 2 ways. I think vision boards are good because a vision board visualizes your goal,
Yes.
and you're supposed to keep it somewhere where you can see it.
Yes, I keep mine by my treadmill every
And
morning and I see
and this
it.
goes back to the remember the book The Secret. So it goes back to The Secret, right? If you visualize it and you put it up where you see it,
You
it's
manifest.
you're gonna manifest it. But the missing link to that is what I think a lot of people miss on that is seeing it and believing it is not enough. You have to do the work to make your goals come true.
Yes, you have to work towards it.
But visualizing it and having it visual to you keeps it in your mind. So it's never far from your thought process. So the work you're doing should lead you to your goals.
Which is funny because I ordered the book The Secret. So I
Did
can
you
read
really?
it. Yeah.
Oh,
I
you're
freaking
such a
did.
girl. You're
I
such a
freaking
girl.
did.
You're such a girl.
I'll give you my copy.
I know,
And
my
no, I
copy's
already
here
have
somewhere.
it. No, and then I also ordered another one about procrastination.
I think I have one on procrastination too.
Yeah, I forget
Yeah.
what it's called. I haven't read it yet though.
Yeah.
It's like,
So I think that's good.
I don't want to procrastinate, so,
So-
I'm going to read a book
I'll do it
about
tomorrow.
procrastinating
I
tomorrow.
know, we'll do it tomorrow.
No, I'm
I
already
think-
reading another
so,
book right now.
Do you want to share a couple of things maybe that you put on your vision board? Like what are some of the big things on your vision board that you are trying to work? You're visualizing, you're putting it up so you can see it, so it's on your goal, it's your
Saving more
forethoughts.
money. I
Yeah,
want to have
yeah,
a financial
yeah.
plan. Just save more money, put more money back. Cut
Can I
back
say
on-
something?
Sure.
Like, if you want to save money, it's an app I found online. It's an app. It's called Acorns.
Oh no, you've already told me about this.
I love Acorns. So what it does, it rounds up.
I love
So if you
Acorns.
spend $1.70, like say on some stuff at the convenience store, it rounds up to the nearest dollar, and it deposits it into an investment account.
I like that.
And so when I go on vacations, I use my Acorns account because it saves enough money and then invest it. So when I look at
When have you ever gone on vacation?
He
I
hasn't
haven't
gone
I haven't
for
gone
forever.
I haven't gone since during COVID, but before that I used to go more often.
Was your last vacation Hawaii? Is that
I
it?
want to say Venice Beach. Maybe it was Venice because I used to go to LA twice a year. Or was it Houston?
You went to New York one time. Was that?
That was, I don't think it was, but I was more prior to COVID. During COVID kind of really screwed everything up for everybody.
Yeah, I haven't really vacationed since.
But Acorn is good.
I like I like the concept of it because it helps you save money.
But if everybody anybody probably listening to this is probably employed in some way.
Hold on.
Maybe.
You know what?
Maybe.
We're always looking for sponsorships because I always have to say we have zero budget. And if somebody that works at Acorns is listening to this and they say like, "Hey, they're promoting a product,"
Okay, so
I will say Acorns. It's amazing for people that aren't thinking about the future and that are not investing. Because if you spend 75 cents somewhere, that extra quarter, which a quarter is a fraction, you don't notice it's gone.
Okay, so here's another thing. If your employer
Yeah.
gives you some sort of matching amount,
Why not use that, right?
that's all you need to do.
Well, you're talking about like a 401k?
Because
Yeah, that's free money.
It's free money.
Yeah.
You should maximize that.
You
right?
should.
Just do whatever the minimum. Usually, it's 3%. You can do 6%. But if you do just 3%, and you do compound that over 30 years of employment, maybe more, then you're done. You're going to be okay.
It's true. It's true. And actually, I want to say it was my Acorns account. I actually opened a 401k on my Acorns account.
I didn't know you could do that.
They do deductions to put into a 401k. So I opened up a 401k through my Acorns account.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is
So
pretty cool.
not only do I have the whole roundups where it rounds up to the nearest dollar, and then what I did is I put my settings, whatever my roundup is, it times that times 2. So if it's like 25 cents, it multiplies it by 2. So it takes out 50 cents, puts it into an investment account, but then I have my 401k, and then I have an automatic withdrawal that goes into a whole different savings account. So I have 3 withdrawals from my bank that saves money.
So what about your 401k?
What about it?
You have that as well.
I have that as well.
Okay. So you were saying that saving more money would be a goal for the new year.
For the new year, yes.
Jeanette, open an Acorns account.
Okay.
I will send you the link. No, because it makes okay.
I will do it. If you send me the link, I'll do whatever it is.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing about
He's gonna check it out.
No. Here's the thing. Because if I send the link to so many people, then I get like a kickback of like $500.
He'll also send
But no.
stash
Here's what I liked about it. Because I used to sit down in my garage with my buddy John, and we used to smoke cigars. We talk about this, and we would talk about like how we could save money, and that's when I found this Acorns account, and I said it's kind of cool. You are saving money, and you don't realize it because it's fractional investments.
Right.
Because when you spend $1.50 and they pull out 50 cents and they invest it for you, you don't miss 50 cents at a time.
As long as you pay off your credit card every
Yes.
month. As long as you have no debt.
Do you know?
Well, that's
And then if
yeah.
you have
So-
debt, then you got to pay that off.
So
Yeah, you
so
do.
so let me tell you, when I lost my job and then I got my job, my debt went up. So since
What?
yeah, when I lost my job and I was living off my savings and my lifestyle didn't change, I didn't downsize like I should have, so my credit card debt went up. I've already paid off 3 credit cards.
Wow.
And and with my current plan, I'm slated to pay off my 4th credit card.
But that's because of your side hustle.
Yes. So I work.
That's another. We need to talk about
That's a whole
That's a
other
side
show.
hustle, yeah.
That's a whole other show. We talk about like living in America and the things you don't see in third world countries, South America, and all that. But we live in a country where there's so many ways to make money. And here's something me and a friend of mine, Levi, a friend I've mentioned before, we talk about if you want to change your life, what would $200 a week do for your life? What would $300 a week would do for your life? You know what I mean? For most people, an extra $300 would be that's like the grocery bill plus the utilities bill, right? For most people, you think about like groceries, utilities, everything. So my side.
So I digress because my electric bill is more than $300.
But you think about your average person, The average person, they're making like $40,000-$50,000 a year, maybe 60,000. You have to think about the majority of the people in the United States don't make a lot of money. Like as you go up the ladder, fewer and fewer percentage of the people in the United States make more than 60, more than 70, more than 80, more than six figures, make more than 150, make more than 200,000. You know what I mean? The percentage of people make less and less and less and less and less and less as you move up the economic ladder. So you think about a lot of people, say a lot of people that work for us, they're probably in the 40 to 60 range. They're probably working 2 to 3 jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, that many jobs?
I'm willing to bet so. I remember, okay, at a point in my life, I was with a woman. She had 3 kids. We were living in an apartment. I was working 3 jobs and going to school.
Oh my God.
But that's what college kids do. I mean, that's what I did.
But
What?
I had,
Yes.
when I was in college, I had like 2-3 jobs. Like, I kid you not, I would work for the union, campus union building, and then I would do catering on the weekends, and then I also tutored kids, and then I still went to school
But
full time, and I still managed to party. I have
we,
no idea.
and
how
I
did it.
managed to party too.
I know,
Crazy.
I was partying all
But
crazy.
but
It was
you
bananas.
but do you realize? Okay, so I listened to Ed Calderon. He's this guy that was a former cop in Mexico, and he talks about like people in Mexico, like people that in Mexico that work for drug lords at the very bottom of the ladder. And what they do is they're the ones that say like, hey, you know, this guy owes us money. If he doesn't pay you, kill him. And he's telling like, we're going to pay you so much money. They only make like 10, 15 bucks. So you're thinking about people at the very bottom of the drug cartel ladder, the foot soldiers, they make pocket change compared to what we make, and we're working normal jobs.
Wow.
Is
and
this
so-
a part of the vision board?
No, but it's kind of the bigger picture though.
Okay, so
the bigger picture is
We digress.
We
digress.
live in a country
We digress.
where there are opportunities to have your main job, have your side hustle, to do this, to do that,
To save money.
form extra income, to save money,
And you don't have to kill someone.
and you don't have to kill somebody.
That makes
And not only that, if you have clearly defined goals in which a vision board, I support a vision board.
what's your vision board?
I don't have one. I don't have
That's
one.
it right there.
But I do support a vision board because a vision board, it clearly visualizes what you want to do with your life, right?
Okay, circle back. Let me circle back here.
Circle
so we're talking about
Jeanette,
5.
Make a circle.
Let me make a circle.
Make a
So
circle.
I did a vision board for the year, but like I was telling you earlier, like the way I look at what I'm doing, it's supposed to be a snowball effect, and I think that I kind of
Do you know what a snowball is?
shut
You know what a
up.
snowball?
We're not talking about that dirty birdie. I know what you're getting
Dario,
at.
do you know what a snowball is?
Don't,
Have you ever been snowballed?
No. The point is, you change something and it's supposed to build and change another habit and just continue to go. So that was the whole
Or
purpose of all of this.
that's when
It's
a
true.
girl goes down on you and you bust a load in her mouth and she wants to make out with you afterwards.
Snowball?
Yes.
That's
Whoa! Jeanette's,
Ay, ay,
Jeanette's
ay.
snowballing all over the world, guys. Watch out!
Oh my god. No more. No more whiskey.
Whatever
for
you
me.
say after what I just
I
heard,
have
give me a moment. There's a refractory period after hearing what Mark just said that I need to tell.
You're all thinking about this
Emma.
like, wait, how many dates have I got on? And how many girls have like...
no idea. This
out.
is
Wait,
why. Wait, this is why we're talking about snowballs because look how much whiskey has been drank.
There's Jeanette. If you were drinking with us,
Here, Dario. Here.
we'd be a little bit more ahead.
Here you go, sir. Go right
Thank
ahead.
you.
Go ahead.
I think, yeah, I don't know about
But
this.
hey,
conversation.
Wait.
Dario, that does happen in real life. Sir, cheers to your health.
Cheers.
Cheers, Jeanette.
Salud.
Salud.
To my water. Salud.
Black Dog, thank you for, even though you're not a sponsor, thank you for this wonderful scotch.
Honestly, I don't think that this show actually has a purpose anymore.
But you know,
we were kind
so-
of misdirected.
But
Yes,
hold
Where's our
on.
direction?
You're
No,
talking
there's
about
none.
hold on.
There's
You're
none.
talking about
There
goals.
was- there
You're
was
talking
no
about
name.
goals and vision boards.
Yeah.
I
Vision
started
board.
I started buying audio equipment like 5 years ago.
That was not your 5-year plan, though.
It was. I knew I wanted to do something like this a long time ago, and I bought the mics.
And did you write it down, pen on paper?
No, I didn't. But it was one of my goals back then to say, like, I wanted to do this.
Well,
And I knew I was going to eventually do it. And it so happened I found a friend that said, I'll do this with you. It's like, cool, let's do it. And then one day we just did it.
yeah, we just did.
And it's funny because you talk about goals and everything, like that old Mexican saying, "Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are." Or
your vibe. No. It's
yes.
your vibe attracts your tribe. So like
yes,
the
it's
person
still the
you
same
are
thing.
will attract the people
Yes.
that
So
you hang out with.
you talk about the whole big picture. You're talking about laying down certain goals. And it's also influenced by having certain people in your life.
That's true.
What are you doing to lay the framework to get where you want into life, and who's going to influence that?
Okay, so
he thinks on a bigger picture, though.
Before you set your
Jeanette,
goals,
stop
you
saying
need to know
bigger.
what your purpose is.
Huh?
Before you set your goals, you need to know what your purpose is.
No. Wait, hold on.
But that kind of goes with goals too. But go ahead.
But I
One
think
thing
the purpose for me is I wanted to be more self-disciplined because I know the person. I know the things that get in my way, but I also know the person I am, and I don't feel like for a while I've been living the life that I know I can live because of the person I am. So I'm just trying to live out the life that I know I want to live because of who I am. So it's kind of weird because I think a lot of people and most people don't really plan for like 5-10 years, but most people are like me who just want to maybe plan for a year. But the way I look at it is you have to build a goal to do something because doing nothing is...
But here's something that's important too. When you attain one goal, whether it's a small goal or a big goal, you have to have the next goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll say in my 20s, when certain things in my life led me to rise, I went back to school and I said, you know what, I wanted to live that life of the college kid. Where you're going to parties, your fraternity, and you're doing all sorts of college stuff. I got into the life and I did that, but I didn't have the next goal.
Yeah.
And so that phase of my life where I hit those goals didn't turn into the next goals. And they didn't turn into the next goals. And they didn't turn into the next goals. You know? So then you get stuck.
Yeah, if anything, my goals are going to have to be something more about what do I want to do for the rest of my life. As far as up to the point of retirement, and how am I going to get there?
Right, because we're at that point in our life.
So I'm already doing things like putting money away in a 401k, but there has to be more planning on my end. So I have to think like 20 years ahead or 10 years ahead. But I think even saving money or just being a little bit more disciplined financially, I think it's a step forward. And it kind of changes things. It changes your mindset because. Right now I'm in a job where, yes, I've been doing this for a long time, but is it something I want to do for the rest of my life? It's very exhausting.
The next step will be...
Maybe a career move. Yeah. It would have to maybe a career change. Something that I really feel good and passionate about. I often
tell people, don't make a horizontal move in your career. Always try to make the next step. Mm-hmm. Even if it's a little step, you always want to move in the vertical direction. You don't want to move horizontally in your career because then you're starting your career all over again, but you're in the same level.
Yeah.
You're learning your new trade and all that. If you're going to make that next step in your career, make a little bit of a step and grow from there.
But I think you have to start somewhere, though. You have to start somewhere. But inaction is no action. So, even if it's a small goal, I think eventually as you go through your goals and meet them, it's going to get bigger and bigger, and then you're finally going to kind of figure it out. There's things that I want out of my life. I think I'm at an age where, I'm renting for God's sakes. Is buying a house this year going to happen? No, not the way the housing market is, but I have to prepare for that. Maybe it's not always going to be like this. Maybe I should, put that money aside. Maybe I need to be a little bit more financially stable as far as like house and all that good stuff. I don't know. I don't think you have to figure it out right away, but you have to do something, right?
Oh,
and I think most people are like that. I think. So what's your vision board? What was your goal this year? Huh?
And hold on, and then I'm looking something in there. I'm looking something up. right now. There's this will. You can look this up online, but it tells you like the percentage of people and how much money they have in their bank account at any given time. And I'm trying to find those numbers real fast, but
But you can't.
I can't.
But you can't.
I'm not using the correct search, the word searches. But you can look online that how many people have $500 in their bank account. How many people have $1,000 in their bank account? How many people have $5,000? And as you move up that ladder, fewer and fewer and fewer and fewer people do. A lot of people have like $500 in their bank account. That's it. A lot less people have $1,000 in their bank account. A lot less people have $2,000. And then as the money goes up exponentially, the percentage of people that have that much money in their bank account goes down exponentially. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like an amazing crisis, that Americans have. We don't save enough money and all that, and we don't work towards having a job. I mean, it's a whole slew of things. It's not one thing. You can't say it's the government. You can't say it's this. You can't say that. But it's just a whole slew of things. But I think it's something that we need to be working towards. But I think what you're saying is really important in the sense of like, where's my career going? And then me making movements in my career, is it only a lateral move? So if I'm making $60,000 a year and I'm going to switch jobs, am I switching from one $60,000 a year job to another $60,000 a year job? Or am I making another step and being like, I'm going to leave this job, I'm going to make 70. Well, I leave that job, make 75. Leave that job, make 90.
Yeah.
Are we striving for that? Or are we just going from people that go from very low level jobs? I'm working at Walmart. Now I'm working at a convenience store. Now I'm working at Family Dollar. I'm working at like the like where they sell clothes at and all that. Or are they trying to make those incremental steps, trying to get to the next level, where they find themselves at a place where they're like, I'm at a place where I'm living more comfortable, and I'm going to strive for the next big leap. Do you know what I mean?
I think a lot of people would think that, but for me, I don't know if it's necessarily. I mean, yeah, money is important because you have to sustain yourself.
And here's something that just
doing something that you love all the time.
Our fact checker said the purpose in your life.
I like that. I mean, yeah, you have to find purpose.
There are people that love fashion. And they get into the fashion industry, they work up, and they find their place, and they do a job that they can, pay the bills, they can save money. There are people that work in like a trade, and they work in the trade, they work on the fields, and then they find themselves as a foreman, a supervisor, a foreman, da 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 da. But you know what I mean? There's different ways of going about it, but in terms of like A, setting the goals of growing, but B, finding that purpose of your life. I think it all comes together, but I think it all comes together in terms of like, are we looking at the goals? Are we setting like a goal year to year? Are we setting 5-year goals? Are we setting 10-year goals? Are we setting goals in like, hey, where do I want to be in 20 years? Some people want like the RV. Some people want the toys. I remember a girl said, she told me her dad said, you're winning when you have toys. Like you have the quad, you have the RV, you have the boat. For them, that was winning because you had the toys. Another person was like, when you had a business and the business is yours, that's when you know you're winning, right? So different people have different metrics to show that you're where you want to be and you're advancing. But are you working towards that? And I don't think a 4-year degree is for everybody. I think there's a lot of opportunities in trades. I could think you could find yourself even in trades, like you and I, all three of us, we're in a trade, in an industry where we help people, and we help people with their health. Yeah. Whether it's drawing the people to our business, because it's like we can give you a good package to give you to a healthy lifestyle. Whether it's us, where it's like, come with us because we're going to treat you like human beings, and you're going to get the care you need, and we're going to treat you like people. You know what I mean? There's different ways to go about that, but the point is you have to have those goals. Without it, you're just going to be, and I feel like this was me, you feel like you're going to be aimless and you're just going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that, you're going to be doing this. And you might get a little bit of fulfillment here. You might get a little bit of fulfillment there. I always said I wanted to be successful in a business that helped people. I feel like I'm getting there, and
you set that out early.
I said that a long time ago. I said
I
verbalized that I wanted to be successful, and I wanted to be in a business that helped people. I wanted to be successful and help myself in helping people. And I remember saying that a long time ago. That's not nothing current. I can remember saying that to people a long time ago. I actually took this personality test to go into insurance. And the guy that gave me the test, and we're going over the results of the personality test, certain business that and he says, this guy tells me, he goes, man, this is interesting. He says, people are successful for different reasons. People want nice things, they want money. There's different reasons people want to be successful. And he tells me, he goes, you're interesting because your test results we never see. He goes, you want to be successful because you want to help people. And that's kind of funny because that set the operas mundi for my life. I've found myself over the last 10, 15 years in an industry where it's about helping people. And I find myself succeeding in my life because somewhere along the way I determined, hey, I want to help people. But I realized in order to help myself, in order for me to succeed, I had to get better at helping people. And I tell this to people. I tell the people, like, well, I gave $500 to my friend, Like, why would you do that? You can't pay your bills. Well, I don't want to be a person that can't help my friends.
Yeah,
I was
but
like,
you have to help yourself.
You have to be able to help yourself before you can help your friends.
I know.
But I also found myself where I'm at a point in my life where I'm able to take care of myself, but I'm in an industry where I'm in an industry where I can help other people. But I remember saying that a long time ago, and it's funny because we often say words have power. Words have power. What you put out in the universe, you're going to manifest. And you're going to manifest those goals. And now that you're talking about it and you're really bringing it to light, I actually remember saying that I want to be able to be successful, but I want to be successful in a way that I'm going to be successful, but I want to be successful in a way that helps people. And it's kind of falling into place and it's heading into that direction. So what do you want to do, right? We all want to take vacations. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we all want to take vacations. Mm-hmm. We all want to have our house. We all want to have a family. We all want to take care of our kids, our wife, whatever have you, and all that. But you have to have that you have to visualize it, and you have to have that goal to say, like, I want to do this. But this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you have to have a plan on how to get there.
Right.
You can't just say, "Oh yeah, I want this," and then do nothing about it.
Right.
You have to take action to do it.
I feel like I'm pretty blessed. I've gone to majority of the big cities in the United States. I've traveled all the way from the east to as far as west you can go, and I'm realizing now I want to go from north. I want to go south. South America and all that. I've always wanted to see Japan. I always wanted to see India. If people say I want to see Paris, for some reason I want to see India. But I want to see Dubai. But I'm at a point.
Dubai would be freaking cool.
But I'm at a point where it's like, if I plan it out, I can do it. But I also want to be in a place where I can take care of myself. I want to pay my bills. I want to, if my family member says they need help, I want to be able to help them. But it's kind of all coming together. But these were all things that not only did I visualize, but I actually said it at one point in my life.
Okay, so we determined that you want to go to Argentina, Jeanette.
Yeah. Thank you for circling. You didn't keep us
everywhere.
He wants to go everywhere. And where do you want to go?
Where do you want to go?
Where do you want to go, Dario?
The man of mystery. Where does the man of mystery want to go?
Batman.
I've been to many places.
I know.
You've been blessed.
Yeah, you have.
So
I've been to Japan.
And this is curious.
Peru.
I've been very curious about this because I think the framework that was laid out for you set you up for that. And when I say the framework, I have to think about our parents. How did your parents lay down the framework for you? Because it seemed like you grew up and it seemed like you went
You
to
grew up.
college.
I'm glad you
And
grew
even
up.
when you were in college, it seemed like you had a goal, and it seemed like you had a certain kind of direction that when you got out of college, you got a certain job. Not a certain job, but a certain type of job that was successful.
Do you know where I went to college?
Where'd you go to college?
Do you know what I studied?
What did you study? Like really enlighten us. What is it?
I was in the seminary for 4 years.
That's
I
interesting.
remember you did
You know
say
what?
that.
That's interesting because I know a lot of guys that have gone to seminary, and they're actually very successful
There's
men.
a lot of introspection that goes through when you're in college seminary.
What
Because
is
when you graduate from college seminary
Yeah.
and you're at that age and you're thinking about what you want to do next, you've already gone through probably a multiple, like times 2 of self-awareness to be able
Yes.
to say, this is what I want to do next. Whereas most people, when they graduate from college, are thinking what color car they're gonna.
Well,
Yeah.
you know.
I've
People
already
say when
gone
they go to
through-
college, people when they say they go to college, they say, "I'm just going to explore in college, and I'm going to figure it out."
Well, I went through times 2 of that because I was thinking of my vocation in life.
I think about the men I know that I admire, and a handful of them went to seminary. I know a guy that was like a preacher, like what do you call, not a preacher, but they call like but you know what I mean? They went down that path, and then they went into business, but it's funny how that sets up a certain framework for their success later in life.
I think it matures you a bit.
Maybe that's
when
what it
you're
is.
Going through 4 years of it, and then you're doing a lot much more introspection with almost like you're going through therapy every
Every
week,
day.
every week you meet with a counselor.
Did you ever have to did they ever tell you to take time to meditate and kind of be with your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. All
Like
the time.
how many, and I think about this with all the kids I've known. I've talked about this with a good friend of mine when we played rugby. And I said, how many kids did we know, playing rugby, and where are they now in their life? I mean, I feel like I've met a lot of people that some graduated, some didn't. But I often think about, where was that missing in their life, that introspection that gives them the direction,
If you
the
think
focus?
of there's a study by Harvard that determined what is the quality that is important in hiring people, and it's self-awareness. If you can hire somebody that's self-aware, then they oftentimes are more able to get on board quicker. They can
Right.
start meeting other people, start moving forward in whatever they're doing in their career.
How fascinating.
But when you go through 4 years of it, I mean,
It's just
we started
down.
with maybe a class of, let's say, 70 people, and there were 12 of us that ended after
So-
4 years.
So let's think about this. And I think about this a lot. How many kids that grow up without a parent in their life, whether it's a father or whether it's a mother,
They're at a disadvantage.
they're at a disadvantage. They don't have somebody pushing them to be successful.
Or just the self-awareness.
The self-awareness,
Just talking
right.
about, where they're at now, what they want to be.
Right.
This whole, like we're doing right now, just having the whole discussion of things. They don't have
How many friends get together and they talk about how crazy last weekend was, and they're not talking about the future. They're not talking about their goals.
or how last week affected what they want to do next, how they feel, where they're
You mean they're
from.
not really planning ahead? They're just living for the moment.
They're almost there. I think there's a value in being present right now. There's a value of that.
So here's the thing. There's Viktor Frankl, an author about the Holocaust.
I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, look up Viktor Frankl. The meaning of, I don't know, something. It's one of those things that you read when you're in college, probably, about.
Hey, you know what? At MSU, they never told me to read Viktor Frankl.
Really?
I've never heard that name before in my life.
Okay, self-awareness, the whole, I don't know. It's just one of those things that you start becoming aware of what's important in life, and it helps it would mature a little bit more than than others that graduate without that background. Right. So I think introspection is very important. I think prayer, in a way that it relates to
prayer means different things to different people. There's different ways.
It's not like talking about religion or anything else. It's just kind of like
in a sense, prayer.
It's almost like yoga.
Prayer is almost like a sense of meditation,
just
where you're
meditation,
one with yourself.
Just kind of thinking, evaluating, how does this feel? Where am I at? What do I want to do? I mean, I think having the goal, what you're doing now, Jeanette, in terms of the 45-day goal or the 45-day,
45-day hard. That's what I'm calling it.
What's it called?
45-day hard.
Don't be dirty, Jeanette.
45-day heart.
Hard.
Because it's hard. It's
She likes the hardness in a man.
Aye. And that's
like
so important.
Like a baby holding an apple.
Well, I don't know. I just think that you have to keep evolving and try to better yourself. I mean, we've been talking about, like, especially since we started this podcast, and we've just been kind of talking about. I mean, we have fun, but we always talk about people. We talk about
like
trying
ideas.
to live a life that you want to live.
Right.
I mean, but you have to go out and do it. And if I'm not going out to do it, then I just feel like I'm not just saying
and
stuff.
And here's the thing:
it means something to me.
We're
so
not
I'm
saying everybody has to join a seminary.
No.
Because everybody has different feelings on religion and all that good stuff. But this idea of introspection,
I like that,
is super important.
Self-awareness. If you Google the value of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Boom. I mean, it would just throw you off. Self-awareness. I mean, that right? You have an advantage over anything that happens in your life if you have some sort of self-awareness, because you're aware of how things affect you. You're aware of how you impact others, life, yourself. I don't know.
But I mean, it's
Google. I did what you said. Googled self-awareness. It says, in philosophy of self-awareness is the experience of one's own personality or individuality. It is not to be confused with consciousness in the sense of qualia. While consciousness is being aware of one's environment in body and lifestyle, self-awareness is the recognition of that awareness.
It's almost like an out-of-body experience of when you see yourself in different situations, and you can kind of disengage yourself from episodes that may be very stressful in your life or very traumatic.
Yeah.
You can kind of sit yourself back and do this 10,000 foot level view of what's happening around you, and kind of just what will be will be. Que sera sera.
What will be will be. I think with self-awareness, and this is something I had to really come to terms with, is accepting certain things in your life that you can't control. But you understand how they're going to impact you. What was that? What's the Lord's Prayer? Grant me the wisdom.
It's like almost the Irish.
The Serenity Prayer.
Yeah.
What's the Serenity Prayer? It says, "The Lord grant me the wisdom to
accept the things
I can't change, and to accept." This is something I've got to Google, because I feel like I should know it. My father used to tell me.
There's a song. There's a song related to that and everything.
Okay, the Serenity Prayer says, oh no, that's not it. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And that's super important. There's things in your life you cannot change. You just have to accept.
What's done is done.
What's done is done. Whether it's to you.
It's the past.
And what's funny is, because I see this in young people. Well, this happened to my friend. You can't change it. It happened. So, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Courage to change the things I can. Courage.
That's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
And the wisdom to know the difference.
Yes.
And it's okay. First of all, it's such a Catholic prayer, and so people think, okay, religion, Catholicism, and all that. F that, right? Both. I think a lot of people say like it's God and it's Christianity.
But wisdom has no religion.
It has no religion, and there are tenets in that which apply to us. There are things in life that will impact us that we cannot change, but we kind of roll with it and we adjust.
But give me the courage to attack the 45-day challenge,
Right?
which I can.
I can't change.
You can do
So
that.
Jeanette, there's a
Anyone can do that.
hurricane that hits your town right now. You can't change it. You're just gonna figure out how I'm gonna
But
survive.
give me the challenge. Give me the courage to
Overcome the challenges that will
challenge
happen.
that happen.
And the wisdom to know the difference. So most people, I think a lot of people will be like, this effing hurricanes and the government didn't come to help me, and they're angry about that. But that's not the message.
But
there are
then
things
they lack wisdom.
they lack the wisdom.
Know
No,
the
that there's
difference.
things that you can't change. Things are going to happen. But then within that, there are things that you can do
I
something
think
about.
we should add also maybe the patience.
You
that
know,
we need to give ourselves.
you know the biggest.
in the time it takes us to.
But also-
This last 5 years,
Awareness.
it's funny, and it's funny, and I don't like to put religion on anybody because I know people, they're not ready for it or they don't want it or whatever. But patience. It was a priest that said this. He goes, be careful what you pray for. He says, if you pray for patience, God is going to put you in situations that's going to force you to be patient. Right?
I'm fidgeting in my seat. I'm tired.
Stop it, Jeanette. Stop it.
I have to pee.
Jeanette, go take a restroom break. Go take a
Pause.
restroom break.
Pause.
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 Ready?
Break.
Pop. Boop boop. The little two lights come on. Boop boop.
I have to pee. I'm
Jeanette-
fidgeting in my seat. I'm like, dude.
Jeanette's taking a pee break.
I do.
You don't have to
I
pop.
drink
You don't
all
have to
that
pause it. You don't have to pause it. We can edit it.
No, he can edit it.
We can edit it. So, but it's a curious thing though. If you ask for patience, you're gonna find yourself in a situation. Whether it's in traffic, think about how many times you're in traffic and you're pissed off. You have to take that deep breath and be like, just chill. You'll get there. Like even the little things like that. And trying to take the message of that. Okay, I'm stuck in traffic. All right, just take a deep breath and just enjoy the time I have right now, just to chill. In modern life. Do you know what I mean?
Change your viewfinder.
Change it. Yeah, absolutely.
Change your perspective.
Change your perspective.
Like, first world problem.
Right. First
I'm
world
not
problem.
walking to work. I'm actually able to drive.
I
don't have to wait for the bus.
I'm driving 20 miles to work. We're in another country. They have to take a bus. They have to ride a bike. They have to walk. They have to walk to get water. We're in a country where we're pissed off that we're sitting in a car, an air-conditioned car. That's gonna instead of taking 10 minutes, it's gonna take us 20 minutes. But you're sitting
I
down
have a radio.
and you have money to buy a snack or buy a coffee or something. Is it really a problem that traffic's bad today and you have
Let it go.
let it go?
Let it go.
Let it go.
Okay, sit down, sit down.
Get sit up. But we get so caught up in the world today.
Do the dogs have to?
I don't know. I feel like the dogs don't have patience right now.
The dogs may have to go. Who let the dogs out?
Who let the dogs out? It's an interesting thing, learning patience in your life, though.
Patience is a virtue, they say.
But it's something we say, but we don't think about.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And you think about the bigger picture.
Okay, so the person that's late for an appointment at work,
Right.
how can they?
That's me.
How can they display patience? How can they experience the peace that happens
And
when
you know,
they're late for something?
and think about when you're late to something, it's usually, you're thinking it's going to take me 10 minutes to get here, but then something unexpected happens on the way there. Traffic's worse, the kid was sick, something. You didn't plan for it, you knew it was going to take 10 minutes, but you didn't get there. But you have to have that acceptance to say, like, it's going to be okay. I'm going to get there. You know, I think, what's that Will Smith movie where he loses everything and he's with his
The
son?
Pursuit of Happiness.
The
That
Pursuit
is
of
such
Happiness.
a good movie. I really
He
like
goes
that
to
one.
an interview, and the interviewer says, the guy that interviews him to give him the chance to work in the brokerage where he wasn't getting paid for, And he says, he goes, well, if you were in my shoes, what would you say to a man that shows up to an interview wearing a pair of sweats? And Will Smith says, man, he must be wearing a really nice shirt.
What do you mean? I'm wearing a nice shirt? What? He's wearing sweats.
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand.
But it's the same thing. It has to do.
Sweats underneath the shirt.
It has to do with the fact that he shows up, like in the pursuit of happiness. He lost all the money he had saved was frozen up because of taxes or something. He has to take this kid to school, and
He can't pay rent.
He
So
can't
pretty
pay
much,
rent.
like all of these things pile on
And he's
him,
going
and
to an interview where he's not going to get paid for, and he was in jail the night before, and he was painting his apartment, so that's why he was wearing sweats and just like a t-shirt or a wife beater.
And he goes to an interview.
Yes, at the brokerage, and the guy says, what would you tell if you were sitting here in my shoes? What would you say if a man shows up to an interview wearing sweats? And Will Smith leans up. He goes, man, he must have been wearing a really nice shirt. Right? And then he leans over and he goes, what do you think of this guy? And he goes, this guy's always trying to sell me this, and he's always here. He never gives up. He goes, well, this guy speaks highly of you, and you're witty. You're thinking. We'll give you a shot. Making the best of the worst situation.
It's a good movie. I like it.
Right?
I'd like to see that.
You haven't seen it?
The Pursuit of Happiness.
It's sad.
I don't think. I think it's a sad ending.
It's a true story.
No, it's not. It's not. It's
not a
good.
sad
It's
ending.
actually pretty inspirational.
It's not a
No,
sad
it's
ending.
not.
It's kind of a slow movie. It's a true story of the challenges a guy went through because he was divorced. He was raising a son. He was he was doing sales. He was selling like a machine that projects something for doctors, a medical device that doctors could project something to see it. And
he was taking an internship. That's what he was.
It was an
applying for.
internship.
It was an unpaid internship.
He didn't know it was an unpaid internship at first because he says, "Well, I have to think about it because I didn't realize this was unpaid." And then during his internship, the boss says, "Hey, do you have $2?" Because he needed $2 for the beater. And Will Smith pulled out the $2, and that was the only $2 he had left. And he gives it to him, not knowing like how he was gonna like take the something.
It's
like
just he's really just scraping the bottom.
One thing after another, but he still put the work in. His goal was still to succeed. He was still trying to succeed, no matter what roadblocks he came across.
He didn't let anything stop him.
He still had his son depending on him.
Okay, that's his purpose.
That's his purpose.
That was his purpose. But let's circle back. Help us circle back, Dario, because you seem to help us.
Hold on, let me walk
here.
around while you. I'm gonna be like that Saturday Night Live. What was that Saturday Night Live lady?
Help us
She goes,
circle back.
converse amongst yourself. Let me give you a topic.
Help us circle back, because I think we've kind of gone away from.
No, we haven't.
Yes.
We have no theme.
We have no theme.
See?
Yeah.
What happens when you have no purpose?
You see this podcast.
You seem like a rabbit or a squirrel on ADHD medication. That needs ADHD medication. Because you discuss
We didn't lay it out.
everything.
We didn't lay it out. And
You need a
usually
theme.
we've laid it out in the
You
beginning.
need a purpose.
Yeah. That's a
You need
good.
theme, and then you need to be able to go back to the theme. Sure, you have all these tangents that go off.
But we need to come back to the
but
main
you
point.
come back to the main point, right? And you might go deeper in something else, but you come back to it. It's like cave diving. You might see certain things that go off, but they're deadly if you can't get back.
So.
You need to be able to come back to the main and then exit the cave with enough air in your tank
Yeah.
so that you succeed.
So basically, the theme is, without really thinking about
Without
it, the
a
theme
purpose.
was you need a purpose. Otherwise, you
purpose.
just don't. You're kind of wandering around aimlessly.
Yeah, you need a purpose.
There you go.
The why.
I like
It comes
it.
back to Simon Smeshek or something like that. You can Google the value of having the why.
And you know, it's
Why?
interesting that we're talking about purpose because that's kind of been the theme for the day since this morning.
I think a lot of
Purpose.
people in the last 2 years have been considering what their purpose is. That's why you see people resigning from jobs that don't give them any satisfaction.
That's true.
Or don't nobody appreciates the value of it. You know,
He's found the purpose.
we found the definition.
We found
of
the
purpose.
definition of this.
We rounded back and said,
Oh Lord.
We have to have a purpose.
Oh Lord. Let me sneak in there real fast.
raise those legs and get back in there. Okay.
You know, and I was just thinking about this right now. I think one of the messages, and I think this is a message I always talk about, is no matter the challenge you have, if you have a goal that you're passionate about, no matter the challenges that you have, you can get there.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have a lot of stumbling blocks along the way. And who knows what the stumbling blocks are. But you put the work in, you can still get there.
Yeah. I agree. I think if there's a will,
There's a way.
There's a way. Mm-hmm.
And you know, and anybody that's listening to this, because there are people in our country that hate the United States for whatever reason. Oh, we have a terrible history. The Indians, African Americans, slavery. Oh, like there's like people that like say like, oh, our country's horrible. You still live in the greatest country where you can still, if you have a purpose and you have a direction, you still have the ability to get where you want to go.
you know what would be frustrating if you put some great American industrialist, but put him in the setting of, let's say, South Africa
Like
or Russia.
Henry Ford.
Put Henry Ford in.
What would Henry
in
Ford
the
do?
Ukraine?
Right.
What would he be able to accomplish?
In communist Russia,
Exactly.
where the government owned
In Venezuela.
everything. Venezuela, socialist company. Again, the country owns everything. The government owns it.
So I think we've talked about this before. The purpose and having a purpose and
Yes.
having a value and having if you don't have a purpose, you don't have. What does a purpose serve? Purpose.
It gives you
serves
direction.
What? It gives you direction, which means what's another word for direction? It gives you
Meaning,
It gives you something to.
you know,
It gives you something to aspire to.
a sense of self.
How about focus?
Focus.
So
I like
a sense of purpose provides you a focus, because there's a lot going on in our lives.
There's a
lot
lot.
of noise. There's a lot of things
Social.
that we can.
You talk about noise. Social media.
A lot of distractions.
Oh my God.
Are you giving up social media? Did
So
I hear you say
let's
that?
say we have purpose, we have focus, and focus then allows us to dig deep, because you've heard of the saying, master of none, master of none,
Master of none, ruler.
ruler of many, master of none,
Jack of all trades, master
jack
of none.
of all trades.
Hold on. I read
Master of
something.
none.
There's a more complete saying to that. That's only half the saying.
Oh, it is.
Yes. And what's funny of
It's mysterious.
what's interesting
He knows
is
what's
the whole quote makes sense if you read the whole thing, right? So we all say like, oh, you're jack of all trades, master of none, but there's a whole quote to that actually makes more sense.
What is it?
Let me find it for you. I gotta find it because there's a second half to that quote that there's a whole quote to that makes sense.
So that's what happens when
I'm gonna
you don't
look-
have focus.
I'm gonna look that up while you talk about it.
You are distracted. You go to very just different things. You expand energy. Energy is finite, but our desires are infinite. So we want everything, but we only have certain amount of resources to be able to achieve those things.
Mm-hmm.
So focus allows us to expend the right amount of energy to
Got
achieve
it.
what we want to accomplish.
So you've heard that quote. Everybody says it. Oh, you're a jack of all trades and master of none. And everybody says that in a derogatory sense. They always say, like, you know me, I always do everything. Oh, they're like, oh, you're a jack of all trades and master of none. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that, you're not focused, or meaning that it has a negative connotation.
Mm-hmm.
The whole quote says, You're the jack of all trade. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. The whole quote is, you're a jack of all trade. A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So it means to be, and it kind of means like you're, you know, oh, you could do a little bit of everything. You know, the way it's said now is like you could do a little of everything, but you're not focused on one thing. But having that wide sense of knowledge is better than just knowing one thing. Because when you know a little bit of everything, you're able to use that as a tool. Rather than having one tool, you have tools. And in terms of advancing your life and getting somewhere, it's better to have a toolbox full of more tools than just a screwdriver.
Curiosity.
All right.
They say that a major indicator of intelligence is curiosity.
Right.
In kids or young adults, and having the curiosity of being a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
Eventually, you learn a little bit of everything. You're interested in many things, the broad areas of knowledge. Then you can become the Renaissance man.
I was going to say think about that. Think about people
man.
like Michelangelo or Da Vinci. They were constantly doing different mediums, different things, going into different fields. Because I often said like one thing will improve the other area. I remember the movie When We Were Soldiers, Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
And they're at the church steeple praying, and his soldier, I think the lieutenant named Jack he says, "You're a father, right?" He goes, "Yeah." Like, well, we're studying to go to war, and how do you balance like being a soldier and being a father? And Mel Gibson, and I'm butchering this all, but he says, "Well, I hope one makes me better in the other." Right?
Yeah.
So you can, like curiosity, knowing a lot of things, like a little this, a little that. The tools you gain in one area hopefully will help improve you in another area. And you're talking about having focus, you're talking about improving yourself, having goals. Well, having more implements in your toolbox will get you there, because how often do you think about somebody that's only good in math? They're good in numbers, but they don't have the ability to think outside of the box and think of like, didn't you think of this? He goes, no, because the math didn't add up. Well, yeah, because if you look at it from a very logical perspective, it doesn't let you think about all the little aberrations that happen.
They're probably very bad at politics.
Right.
Because they have to know human relationships.
Right. But if you think about somebody that has a little bit of this, a little bit of that, they're able to take all the little pieces of their life and to help them get to where they're going. You have to be the Renaissance man. If you want to be a great artist,
Well-rounded.
if you want to be a great artist, you could be a great artist in acrylic, in oil. But what if you're a great artist? Wouldn't you be a better artist if you knew about water paint, about acrylic, about oil, but then you knew about sculpting with rock,
and then go
with
beyond
clay?
that and say if you're good at like self-promotion,
Right.
if you're good at social media, if you're good at internet, if you're good at in technology, if you're good at being able to grow your business.
Right. You look at people like Elon Musk. He started off with PayPal, internet technology. Now he's looking at space technology. He was looking at solar technology. He's looking at like electric cars. All these different parts of technology, they all kind of fold into each other, and you can use all the pieces of it to build upon each other. I heard it said that specialization is super important because you get good at one thing. It's super important because if you specialize in X, I specialize in Y, and you specialize in Z, we get good at our parts, and when you put all our parts together, it gets us to the next level.
To a certain point.
But you need that one person that can see the big vision and see a little bit of everything and realize how they really could come together to get to the next level.
I think I think in healthcare, unfortunately,
Yeah.
we've gone to the other extreme where they want somebody who can not just be a unique specialist, but they want somebody who can do everything.
Right.
And so right now, the pendulum has swung towards where they want somebody, who can do 3 jobs.
Right.
They want the administrator, they want the clinical person,
Right.
they want what else is left?
Marketer. You'd have to promote your business.
But if you look at healthcare, what about the person that says, not only am I internal medicine, not only am I'm a pharmacologist, so I know a little bit about internal medicine, I know a little bit about pharmacology, I know a little bit about ortho, but maybe I know a little bit about holistic medicine too, and they can start pulling knowledge from all the different areas to give you a more complete version of healthcare.
Holistic medicine.
How often is that like, oh, that's just foo-foo?
Yeah.
But you could take, if you had somebody that knew a little bit of everything and you had to put it all together to give you a better rounded healthcare.
So when I lived in Japan.
Wait, how did we jump from Cuba to Japan? That's 2 different parts of the world here.
So when I lived
That's
in
just
Japan,
crazy talk.
I worked with a pharmacist, and the pharmacist, the prescription from the pharmacy came with the picture of a body, kind of like the Medtronic logo.
Right. You have to explain to people what Medtronic logo is.
The of the Da Vinci.
Like
man.
the Da Vinci man, right?
Yeah, I know what you're
Yes.
talking about. The one with it's where it has the circle.
And then the square, and then he
Yeah.
had like the man in different like positions like this.
Very similar to that. So it was like ancient Chinese medicine that came in through Japan, and so the auras and the whole thing.
Acupuncture, the pressure points,
Everything.
What's
the holistic.
What's the energy lines that they call through?
Chi.
Chi, the
or
chi.
ki. Yeah.
Yeah, ki. What do you say? Ki.
Ki.
The ki that
In
goes with it
Japan,
through
chi
you.
in Japan.
Which ki is not recognized in Western medicine.
No.
Your babies are crying.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
But so the pharmacist that I worked with would write his prescriptions, and it was on the, in his language, Japanese, hiragana or katakana or kanji. It would be written on on the aura of the body, and behind him in his shop he would have maybe, how tall are your ceilings here?
8 feet, 10 feet.
So he had a ladder,
Yeah.
taller, where you'd run a ladder like an old library,
Right.
and with old cabinets that he would open a drawer and pull out
Interesting.
hongos,
Like an herb.
herbs,
Yeah.
and different things, and he would compound it and put it in tablets, and that's what he was a pharmacist.
So it would be curious. What if you went to your pharmacist here in the United States? Your pharmacist, when you go to a pharmacist right now in the United States, he gives you your traditional Western medicine, Tylenol and ibuprofen and cumin. You know what I mean? Like,
They only give you what the physician or prescriber
Right.
prescribes.
but what would happen in the sense of what you're saying in Japan if your pharmacist says, okay, your physician wants me to give you this medicine for your cholesterol, this one for your blood pressure. 2 medicines that came from the doctor. But then he also says, but I'm going to prescribe you, you need to exercise this many days out of the week.
Oh,
You
yeah.
also need to start eating this diet.
Yes.
You need these herbs.
Yes.
And you also need to make time for yourself
Yes.
within all of that. So this makes your complete plan to bring you to health, not just the pharmaceutical medicine.
First prescription
but
should be that.
your mental health, your physical health, and your dietary health, and it creates a whole picture, and you're not just relying on your synthetic drugs.
Exactly. The first prescription is always diet and exercise. We always forget that.
Right. I was watching a reel on YouTube. You know, YouTube has these everything now is these new reels. Have you seen them like on Instagram and YouTube? They have like the 10-minute videos or the 10-second videos, the reels.
Yes.
And there was like this massively obese woman, and she was saying like they were saying like, how many Cokes did you drink a day? Do you drink Coke? Oh yeah. She goes, how many do you drink a day? She's like, I drink like 10 Cokes a day. And she goes, really? And what would you do about this? She goes, well, my mom said if I drink 10 Diet Cokes, it would counteract the 10 Cokes I drink a day.
Oh my goodness.
Right. I saw that.
Did you see that?
I saw that.
How nuts is that?
It is.
Now that's really back. It's like to think like the positive and the negative, diet versus regular.
It just kind of eliminates itself.
It does. But if you had somebody step in and say like, no, that's not correct. Cut out the diets. Drink this kind of food, these natural foods. Start incorporating light exercise. Do you remember when you and I started talking about exercise?
When was that? Beginning of our
Like
podcast?
last year.
Yeah.
And I was saying, you know, the problem people do with exercise is they jump in and it hurts. You get sore and all that.
Yes.
You have to ease
I would
into
always
it.
do that. I would
And-
always get hurt. I'd start out with it.
And it sucks.
I'd blow a shoulder or
It
That
just
is-
sucks.
my knee would hurt.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, you're tired, you're sore and all that.
And that is why people give up, because
Right.
they go in super hard. So that 75-day hard that I was telling you about and why I cut it, there's actually a story about how like the 75-day hard is it's not feasible because people go in working out twice a day,
Right.
45 minutes twice a day.
Most
And they go
people,
super hard, super fast,
a
and
lot-
then they
a
fail
lot of
early
people
on.
are not ready for the gym.
No.
How do you ease into it? And I remember us talking about this. I said,
Walking.
start with walking.
Walking.
Walking changes your
I
life.
know how hard it is. to
It
just
is
start
walking,
But
because then
listen,
you build
I can't
off
even start walking.
So how
Yeah,
healthy
start
is
walking.
walking though?
And you know what it really
It clears
does.
your mind.
Mhm.
It's low impact. You're moving. And then one
Tomorrow
day,
I start walking.
and then 5 minutes to the 10, 10 to 20. Before you know it, you might be walking on a treadmill or out on a trail for like half an hour. And then one day, you might say like, you know what, this is too easy. Let me go for a jog.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you to come up with some final words here, because I think we've
Yeah.
totally lost.
But I think we've gone
I
over
want
like
you
a
to-
lot of
I know, but
really
I want
good
you to-
stuff.
I want you to wrap it up.
Like because we've gone from you and the man maker to like Ukraine
I don't
to
even.
mental health. But
But whatever. Let's go.
What's
go
our
with it.
challenge?
you know what?
Purpose.
What's
This
our
day and
purpose?
age, and
It's
I
February. There's
and
no
I-
pressure from January.
I always
Sorry.
say, I always go back to like, you know, like what I said earlier, like this day and age, how are we thinking about invading countries and taking over people, right?
Taking over people.
Right. How are we at this point where we're still doing this day and age?
Why?
Why? But you know what? How about taking over your own life? How
Oh,
about
yeah.
taking responsibility for
There
your
you go.
life?
Look, he's doing really
Oh,
good.
nice
Right.
choice.
It is a
Yes.
nice. I know. Keep going.
Oh, that must have
Keep
been in
going.
the notes.
Oh, that was his goal the whole time.
I didn't even bring my sticky notes.
Holy
I didn't
crap.
even bring my sticky notes.
All right, continue.
But-
I like what you're
but-
saying.
Take control of your life and start with something that's feasible that you can do.
And stop telling other people what to do.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
stop
you know what, bro?
invading other
You
people.
should go keto and you should do this. And I'm doing Atkins and you can go paleo. Forget telling other people what to do. Take control of your own life. Take value. Take stock in your life. Are you exercising? Are you
No.
eating well?
No.
Do you have goals for work? Because guess what? If you don't, that's where you need to start. And if you're not exercising, do something like going for a walk. You know what? Start evaluating what you're eating, what you're drinking. If you're drinking sodas, cut the sodas out. First thing I did, I told you that, I've stopped drinking beer Monday through Friday. That's
Oh,
my
yeah.
goal.
I remember, but you've been doing that for like 3 years.
But-
no.
but you know
yeah,
what?
But then I was drinking vodka.
I had to start somewhere every day.
Yeah,
Before you
actually
met
did.
me, I would go
Okay, I
out.
met you 4 years ago.
So before you met me, I was drinking every day. I love Guinness. I would drink Guinness every day.
Dude, we were.
And then-
I remember that.
And then I was going for lunch and I'd have a Guinness. I'd have lunch and I would drink a Guinness.
So-
Every day. And I'd go exercise, I'd go play rugby, I'd go to the gym, and then I'd go to the bar, and I would have me a couple of pints of Guinness. So
that's where I was.
So
I was doing the growlers.
you were doing the growlers.
Why didn't you tell me?
Because it's a phase. Everybody's at different phases
Don't
in
get
their
me
life.
wrong, I love the beer, but
I was doing the growlers.
It's a weekend thing.
But
for
here's
me.
the thing: everybody's at different phases in their life.
So we were doing the growlers,
Oh, yeah.
and he was
ahead
ahead of us.
I was already out of it. I like beer. I like IPAs.
Oh, I do.
I
love beer.
had a Michelob Ultra a couple weeks back on a Saturday, and I was like, oh, I forgot how
It's
good
really
these
bad
are.
for estrogen.
It is.
Michelob Ultra.
But
Beer in general.
beer in general. But there was a point in my life.
Let's start
so
drinking whiskey.
There was a point in my life I almost weighed 300 pounds.
What?
Oh,
I
I've
almost
seen
weighed-
pictures of him.
I almost weighed 300 pounds.
He did.
I was
Like Joey.
rugby. I was like,
Did you
my
see Joey's pictures?
My cheeks were like this, and
That's
I've
Joey.
seen his
and you know
pictures,
what?
yeah.
When I weighed 300 pounds, I thought my shit didn't stink. I thought I looked good, and I looked back at the pictures, and I was like, holy crap! But you know what I did? I stopped drinking beer during the day.
And during the week too.
During the week.
Vodka.
And then I started
Good.
changing my diet. I started dieting more vigorously. Now, for me to get into more vigorous exercise, it was easier. Not everybody's at that point.
You have to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere.
And you have to be truthful with yourself.
If you're sitting behind a desk, if you're sitting behind a computer, and if you don't exercise 3, 4, 5 times a week, you have to start somewhere. And if that means going to a walking to your mailbox, if that means walking to the end of the block or around the block, start there.
You want me to start waking you up at 5?
But
You'll probably hang up the
and
phone
here's
and
the
not
thing.
answer.
Here's the thing about going for walks. It gets you moving, but when you're on a walk by yourself, it clears your mind.
It does.
It does something to your mind. We're talking about mental health and having
Therapeutic.
focus. It's very. I hate foo-foo crap. You know me. I hate foo-foo crap. I hate this new age crap. But going for a walk clears your mind. You know, I read, and
I can't imagine.
and you know what? I
read.
read. What did it for me?
Listen to music.
What did it for me is I read an article, and this guy talked about how his dad was in bad health. And he says, I started going for a walk with my dad. And it wasn't very long. And he starts talking about how our walks got longer. And they got longer. And he says, I would get out of work and I look forward to having my walk with my dad. And he said, I didn't realize at the moment I wasn't changing my dad's life. I was changing my life. And he said, I got to learn about a man who I knew nothing about. I learned a lot about myself. And before we knew it, our 10-minute walks was like 2 hours. And he said, my relationship about my father was so transformative, it transformed me as a man.
You know what? I can do that with my son.
You can do that with your son. And then before
Let's go for a walk.
And then before you know
There you
it,
go.
so in this story, he talked about how his dad died. But in that story, he says, like, when my father passed away, I realized I got to know my father in a way I never knew him before. We talked about things I never thought I would talk about my dad. About relationships, about how he met my mom, about work. He got to know his dad on a very personal level. And then so much so that when his dad passed away, he continued with it. And then he started going on big runs and all that. And how that was just the leaping point for him. It changed his health. It changed his mentality. It changed his life.
It makes you stronger.
It makes you stronger.
From 4 weeks ago, I'm definitely a lot stronger than I was.
We
4
all
weeks
want to be
ago.
that person at the gym, right? We all want to be the person that can do pull-ups and bench press and do squats at 500 pounds.
Not me.
And we can all get there, but guess what? It has to start somewhere. And for most of us, if we wake up tomorrow and we go for a 5-mile run, it's going to hurt and we're not going to do it again.
No,
But
that's
you know
true.
what?
No, I'm
If
not
you
doing
go-
I can't even walk 5 miles.
Right.
What are you talking about?
But if you went for a walk tomorrow for 30 minutes, if you went by yourself or with a friend, a family member, something, A, you're moving, and B, your mental health will improve. And then in a month,
Maybe
2
you'll
months,
find your purpose.
in 6 months,
Ah.
and maybe in 6 months,
6 weeks.
something. You're
45 day
gonna find purpose. You're gonna find meaning. Maybe you declare your hell ahead. You're gonna be able to focus. But it's all connected. Like you said, the Chinese guy, it's all connected because it's not about just getting
Japanese
your medicine from the doctor,
Japanese guy.
the pharmacist.
Japanese.
You're the Japanese guy. You're no longer just going to go to the doctor and say, "Fix me."
No.
You're going to go to the doctor and you're
The
going to be
aura.
like, right? You're going to fix your aura. You're going to fix your health. You're going to fix everything. But Levi told me, he goes, the journey of 1,000 steps
Begins with
one step.
one step.
And
That's
it doesn't.
an old Indian saying.
But it doesn't matter what that one step is. You don't have to run. You don't have to jog. You can walk it. But that's where it starts. And that's where you get control
So it
of your
starts
life.
at waking up when your alarm goes off.
But that's if you want to become a morning person.
You know what I
That
think
was
I'm gonna
my
do?
goal.
But you don't have to do it in the morning. You
But
can do it after work.
I do it in the morning because I'm more energetic.
You
and
are.
That's because I know who I am.
You're kicking guys out in the morning, so it makes sense.
It does.
But you know
It
what,
really
though?
Does.
Find what works
Men
for
have
you.
more testosterone in the morning.
Right.
Morning
Find-
exercise.
find
Shit, I've been
what
doing it
works for
wrong.
you.
I've been doing this all
you
wrong.
want to change your life for yourself, for your family. We all want to help yourself. There's like a lot of things we covered. You want to be the person that helps your friends. You have to help yourself.
Yes.
And it's not just financially. It's your health, your mental health. It's your job. You've got to start somewhere, and it starts with that one step. And it's got to start today. And it's hard. Your first day was hard, wasn't it?
Oh God, yeah, it was. But you know, one of the things that it's so cliche, and you see it everywhere, but it's absolutely true. You're not always going to feel motivated to do it. But one of the best things that I can recommend with anybody, and it's out there, you have to remain consistent. Be consistent.
You have to remain consistent.
You may not feel motivated. I don't always
Sounds like
want to.
college cheerleaders. Be
Consistent.
Gotta be consistent. Be consistent.
But it's true though, because you're not always going to be motivated. Be consistent.
But you know what, though?
Consistent.
But you know what?
Damn it! I'm gonna do
But
that
you-
in the morning. Be
See.
consistent.
But you know what? Though? But you know what the message there is though.
Be consistent.
You can do it though.
Well, yeah, anybody can do it.
Can do
You
it.
can do anything.
It doesn't
can do
matter
anything.
if you're in L.A., Chicago, New York, or if you're in a small little town in New Mexico. You can do it, and you can take control of your
Have you
life.
seen
and
the
you can change your
Goggins? The Goggins videos?
Yes. I like Goggins. He
Anything.
speaks to me. The way he speaks
He
very
is a
curt.
beast.
He speaks very curt, and the force behind his words, it speaks to me.
I'm gonna be consistent. Let's be consistent.
So,
Consistent. Gotta be consistent.
I'll tell you what. Here's a goal for our next show. Here's a goal I'll do.
Be consistent.
I'll make my own dream board.
Oh, Dario, do you want to do one?
I
Do
don't,
you want to do a vision board?
So
I don't know what.
I mean, I'll cheer
you
you
can get a
on.
bulletin board and you can put pictures on things you want to do. And let's say in the next 5 years, in 1 year,
Like
5
Oh,
years.
yeah, I did mine for just a
Cutout
year.
magazine.
But and
It's
you have to put it in
fun.
this. You can put it in your your closet. If you have a walk-in
Playboy.
closet, you can put it in your closet. But the thing is it's somewhere where you're
Keep it
gonna
in the
see
closet.
it every day.
and
You
then
see,
take
this
it
is-
out of the
this
closet
is
every once in a
mine.
while.
Well, it was my friend and I. We did ours. It looks like a collage.
Wow,
but we
look
did
at
it.
that. That's awesome. It's like a
See?
collage.
Did you take it out of the closet?
Wow.
I took it out of the
Are
closet.
you out of the
Jeanette-
closet,
Jeanette's no
Jeanette?
longer in the closet.
I'm no longer.
No longer in the closet.
No, it's out there. It's out there for the world to see.
So that's the goal.
Okay.
We're gonna make vision boards.
Vision boards.
We're gonna take control of our life.
But vision boards have categories.
I have
If
my
you were
goals
to
on
divide it
mine.
into like four
Well, yeah.
square,
Well, yeah.
square
That's how you want to
Job-
do your vision
like
board.
job, finance,
law,
or you could
job,
do it in 4 categories
I
like
did
1 year,
mine-
5
I
years,
did mine
10
health.
relationships, health.
I did mine health, financial, and just personal goals.
I'm gonna think about one. I'm gonna get a bulletin board. I'll break it into 4 and I'll tell you about it.
four square.
And then,
Four square.
as far as relationships, I just put that only give, people who are worthy.
Whoa!
No. Like cut out
When she
negative
says
people.
worthy, she
no,
means
cut out
like-
negative people
When she says
because
worthy,
those are
she means
distraction.
worthy.
No, but also like only entertain quality people. Like
She's
men.
talking about quality.
Quality. Yeah, because quantity didn't work.
No, quantity does not work.
Or does it?
No.
Bum, bum,
Quality.
bum.
Quality.
Bum, bum, bum.
Quantity does not
So
work.
we were all over the board today.
You know that itchy
We
feeling.
had no
I'm
purpose.
just kidding.
No. We did have a
Did we have
purpose.
a purpose?
What?
We do have a purpose.
What's the purpose?
And it's taking control of your life, taking responsibility. And again, it goes back to something we always talk about. Setting the goals and doing the work to attain your goals. And I think you brought a whole nother aspect that we miss.
What?
The focus to get there. The focus and your goals will help develop your purpose, because your goal is directly related to your purpose, right? We're not going to say like one day I'm going to wake up and plant flowers. We're going to say this is my goal. Why do you set your goal? Because it's something you want to do, something that's going to give you meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
so like in business, you have your goal,
right?
And then you have a strategy.
And you should have one for your personal life.
In business, for me, it's one thing for me. It's always to keep the people employed, because I know their livelihood is dependent on me making good decisions.
All right, I need you to focus.
Do you know what I mean?
That.
But you know what I mean?
That's
so,
another topic.
But you know what I mean? Like, if I have to run a successful business because the people below me are depending on me being successful, making good decisions.
Yeah.
But that's not what that's different than what your business expects of you.
That's a good point. But it does correlate. My business expects me to be successful. I expect myself to be successful because there's a whole lot of people depending on me being successful and laying down a framework where they're not going to be left without a job.
All right.
I've always thought about that. There's a lot of people depending on me on making good decisions that we're not going to shut our doors.
All right, final phrase. Final phrase. We have to wrap you up, I swear. You've had a lot of...
Happy as a hippo. Happy as a hippo.
Okay.
The hippo wanted to be a zebra, so he painted stripes on himself. But he says, I'm not a zebra, I am a hippo. Hello, okay, Polly?
We have to wrap him up, man. You
know what?
Wrap him up.
It all
tie it in a beautiful
wraps
bow.
around, though. Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to be successful. But you cannot do that without setting attainable goals. And we're going to start that. Okay. That's our goal this year. Now, I wish we had started talking in January. And I wish I could have been with you.
Let's talk about it. Okay.
I wish I would have been there with you on the journey, but I'll do my vision board too. You want to do a vision board too?
Yeah.
I'm going to go buy a bulletin board and I'm going to do my vision board. I'll put it in my room where I can see it. But my vision board will be personal to me, the things I want to do. Yeah. And we're not going to bring it up here. No, we don't have to show them here. But you know what? My vision board is going to be personal to me, to the things I want. Yours is personal to you, to do you want. And you can do yours to what you want. And we're going to be like, look, we're not only just talking about and telling people that's a good thing. We're going to be living it.
I want to live all this stuff that we've been talking about.
What do you want? Because look at, and I said it before and I'll say it again. What is that? Youth is wasted on the young.
Yes.
Youth is wasted on the young. Your teens, your 20s, even your 30s. Youth is wasted on the young.
You get better with age, but then you're more tired. You're more tired as you age.
So
but you become wiser.
We are effectively on the second half of our life. Right now, where we should be on the top of the hill, looking on the end of our life now. We're no longer climbing the hill. We're on the top, where we are in our life. And you're like saying, like, okay, I got from point A to point B. I was a kid, a teen, 20s, 30s. I'm here. I can see the end of my valley. But when I get there, this is what I'm going to do. This is what's going to make it great. And we should be focusing our life and our goals to get us to that point of greatness. And that's what we have to do. And anybody that's listening to this, if they're in their life, that's what they have to think about. Because the 70, the 80 years of your life that you live, it's just a blink.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what? There are heroes in our life that will live forever. Like the people like Odysseus, like Alexander, like Churchill.
Simon Bolivar.
They are going to live forever. And the most impactful quote I ever heard of my life was like, you die, the last time you die twice. The first time you die is the time you die. The second time you die is the last time somebody says your name for the last time.
Everyone forgot you.
You are forgotten. Winston Churchill will live forever. Patton will live forever. Alexander is going to live forever. They were great and they attained greatness. Do you want to attain greatness? What are you going to do to attain that greatness? Because if you do not attain that greatness, and it doesn't have to be on a big level. What about in your family?
What was that movie with the
cartoon
live, movie?
Well, hold on. You can live forever within your family because your great grandkids can say, you know what? Dario was a great man, and he did this for my mom and dad, and he did this for my great grandpa. Yeah. It doesn't.
What was that movie? That cartoon movie? It was a Disney movie or something with the Mexican, the Dia de los Muertos.
Oh, that one was good. I forget.
Yes.
I don't know. They had a picture and they had
the Dia de los Muertos, and he went to the afterlife and he met his great granddad with like Vicente Fernandez or something like that.
Somebody. You know, I don't remember what it was, but we don't do that enough, and we don't talk about our ancestors. And
we don't, and it's super important because if you forget your past, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah. All right.
Attain greatness.
So you're gonna set your goals. You're gonna do your vision board. I'm gonna set my goals. And it's still not too late. I mean, come on, we're still beginning of the year.
It's February. February. You know what?
Set your goals, Daddy.
It's the second month.
Mañana.
It's the second month of this year. 1 year out of our lifespan where we should be thinking about the rest of our lives.
I like
and we're going to put it at the forefront of what
you know how dogs have like 1 year, human life is 7 years?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
As we get older, I almost feel like 1 year is actually
Doesn't it feel like it just
months. It goes shorter.
It gets faster.
It does.
But you know what though? That's the point of of setting goals, because not only do you have goals that you reach to, but in a sense that you're controlling your life. But when you control your life, it's funny because when you control your life, you almost slow down time.
You also,
you know what I mean?
Like
you're living a more purposeful life because you know that everything that you're doing
when you live life just on the fringe of your pants, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you don't have any direction. Time flies by because you're doing this, you're doing that, and you're
it's a lot of wasted time.
It's a waste of time.
But if you have a goal or something that you're working towards,
you're able to control the time in your life because you're putting the effort and you're living in the moment that you're intentionally putting your focus on.
Focus. I like it.
You know what? And I've said this before. People say they wouldn't repeat anything in your life, but you know what? That 10, 15 years of my life where I lived aimlessly, I would change everything.
I don't want to live aimlessly.
I would change everything because I needed direction, I needed focus, I needed goals, and quite frankly, in terms of being a guy, that's what it means to be a man. A man's not beating somebody up, being physically strong, wasting weights. A man is knowing your direction, and it's doing the right things, and it's going in the right direction. Goals. It really is. Because the people in your life will look up to you. And when they look up to you, and you do great things, you will live forever.
Right there. Right there. Right there. Mind blown. Right there.
You know what, Jeanette? My
Right
Scotch
there.
glass is empty.
You know what that means.
My glass of Scotch is empty.
You know what though? It also means that we're gonna continue this journey. This whole year.
Do you want to say a theme?
I am sorry.
The theme. The annual theme.
I am sorry that we were off for 6 months, but a lot went on. Holidays, COVID, and all that.
Who was out for 6
Or
months?
6 weeks. 6 weeks. We hadn't connected.
But I think that this
Kind
is
of let us recharge our batteries.
Yeah.
And you know what? New year, new goals.
Yep.
But you know, let's start this year. Let's start the rest of our life with purpose.
I love it.
That's the challenge. Anybody that's listening, start the rest of your life today with purpose.
And if you're out there, read Tony Robbins' Money Master.
That's a really good book.
It's funny that you have that right there.
I do.
All right.
Find
That's
That-
awesome.
You know, you gotta read.
So it's not find your purpose, define your purpose.
Define your
We all
purpose.
have
Ooh.
purpose.
We have to define
You
what
have
our
to
purpose
define
is.
it. That's another good book right there, Musashi. You know who Musashi is, don't you?
Musashi.
Musashi.
Yeah.
We could talk about that later.
Okay.
But
All right.
start the rest of your life today, right now. The rest of your life starts now.
Okay.
No time to lose.
I like it.
Starts with a nap.
Starts with a nap. Okay,
I need to go to bed.
right. Thank you. Y'all have a good
Go to
night.
bed.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.